Hey, everybody. Welcome to another brand new episode of the Outlaw Nation Show here live on the Outlaw Nation Network. And thank you so much for tuning in and watching this show live, wherever you're watching it here in your world. Got already a bunch of comments rolling through here. People are excited to see this thing and see me talking with this man, my guest tonight. He is a writer. He is a mentor to me at times. He's a ball-busting, cage-rattling SOB. And he's never short of opinions. That's how the Boston boys come. And he's never short of thoughts on what's going on in the world. But it also might surprise you. He's actually a pretty loyal guy, a great friend, a good counselor, and can get down and have a beer with you and cry with you if you need it. That surprises a lot of people about my guest tonight. And that is Jeff Sneider. He will be on shortly. I can't wait to talk to him. He's my greatest Schmoedown nemesis. Yeah, Mance is fine. But it's always been Sneider who's been the mountain I can't climb, for God's sake. So we're gonna get into all that. We're gonna talk about his career. We're gonna talk about what it's like to be working in the job that he's working now with the coronavirus and the COVID, the delays, the shutdowns, all that kind of stuff, and also what he feels about the breaking news, how people are breaking news now in the business, and we'll get into a little bit of his health scare, and of course, we'll talk about the Schmoedown stuff and anything else that comes up. And remember, your Streamlabs are open, the Super Chats are open. And you can come in live and ask questions of me and Sneider. And I imagine Sneider's willing to go toe-to-toe with you if you're going to come in hot, because I got a feeling Sneider's going to come in hot on this show tonight. But first, let me bring in Wiley Todd. He is my producer on the show here. I would say associate producer. I don't want to get too big for his britches, but he's my associate producer on the show here. He's been on for the last few weeks, kind of letting you know what the deal is. Wiley, what's going on tonight, my man?
Welcome, Outlaw Nation. If you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button. But it's pretty simple. If you've never been here, so Rocha, if you guys are a fan of Rocha, you just joined from the Schmoedown or whatever. Yeah. There is a little thing called Streamyards. And Streamyards allows you to come on to the show like I am. And you guys can ask a question to Jeff and Rocha live on the show. It basically could be anything. Just nothing like really super inappropriate. But anyway,
not in this show. I know.
Here's the little thing about this show. So if you guys are actually a Patreon, which you can see like right below me right there, if you are part of that, every Outlaw Nation, one of the things that every tier gets, if you are in the Discord 20 minutes into the show, as I'm speaking right now, after this, I'm going to put the link for the Patreons. They get a 20-minute grace period in the show, which basically means is there's a lineup basically where Rocha can see you, but you can only see yourself and the that's going on. He will see who will come in. So every Patreon that joins in that 20-minute period, Rocha will know who they are, and those will go first. It's like waiting on a line. Mm-hmm. But so if you guys want to be a part of that, just join the Patreon right there. But also we have hangouts every week, and there's a bunch of new shows for if you guys really want to hear Rocha talk about something, then you guys can check that out as well. So the Patreon is not just for this. There's a lot going on. But if you do want to join the show, that's how you get in there first. But after that, I will send a StreamYards link. It's the same process. And once I give you that link, you'll click on it. And then there will be a little screen where it says, if you've never been on the website before, it's going to ask you to allow your microphone and allow your camera. Any questions to that, ask me or Jake in the chat. We'll help you out there. But once you're in there, like I said, you'll be in that waiting room. You can only see yourself. And then you'll see like a little blue box where it says you're in the show. So you're fine. You're in there. Don't worry about it. And then after that, Rocha will put you in. But again, it is Patreons first. So keep that in mind. If you're saying, if I don't have that much time to go on the show, I'm just coming to say hi and leave a like. That's fine. But I would advise you not to join because it's going to be a while until you get in. But again, if you have the time, you're watching the show, why not? Ask a question. But that's all I have for you guys. And if you guys want to ask any questions on how to do that, again, you can ask me in the chat.
There you go. Thank you, Wiley. You can find Wiley in the chat. He'll answer any of your questions that you need to have answered about that situation, about coming in live and doing that. Thank you so much, Wiley. Appreciate it, brother. We'll see you back a little bit later. Don't forget, if you want to be part of the Patreon, it's not just hanging with the Outlaw. I guarantee you, no one has a Patreon like I have. 4 shows are coming. Criterion Corner is coming. The Great Debate, known as the OK Corral, that's going to be the debate show here on the Patreon. We got 2 other shows. Rocha Explains Why, or The Outlaw Explains Why. And of course, on Twitch, we're also on Twitch, the Outlaw Nation, all one word together, lowercase. Go follow that, because Rocha Unleashed is going to be on Twitch as well. So a lot of stuff coming down the pike for the patrons and for followers of the Outlaw Nation. All right, without further ado, and don't forget, the Streamlabs are open, the Super Chats are open. We're going to answer them all through the night. But without further ado, let me bring on the man, the myth, the legend, one half of the former tag team champions of the world, Jeff Sneider, the Patriots, one half of the Odd Couple, who were also the former tag team champions of the world, and a man who is not shy about his opinions on life, movies, or the Schmoedown. And here he is, Jeff Sneider. Boom! What's up, guy? How are you?
I am wonderful, Johnny. How are you?
What's going on there? What's with the cast? What's that all about?
It's not a cast. That's how you look.
What is that? Your Madonna? What is that? What is that?
This is the MJ.
Isn't it supposed to be silver, the whole hand, the glove, the whole 9?
I don't remember. I'm not old enough.
I like that. Rocha sometime mentor. Nice, nice. I had to take that down just to see what it is. Yeah, it's no lie. You've been my mentor in this business. You know, you took a chance on me way back on the tracking board when I was when I wanted to write. I remember sitting you down after a day of Schmoedown matches, and I talked to you. I was like, I want to do this. Give me a chance to do this. You said you were looking for somebody, and you took a chance on me, and I've always appreciated that. And you've never steered me wrong. It doesn't mean I always take your advice, but you've never steered me wrong, and I've always appreciated that.
What I've always said to you, John, is that closed mouths don't get fed.
You're right, dude.
You spoke up and you wanted an opportunity, and I gave you one.
Yeah, that's true.
Simple as that.
The thing is, I'm still learning from you too, Jeff, because, you know, I look at the way things went down, and I'm watching the House of Cards right now, which is, I've never watched it before. So I'm almost done with the first season. Incredible series, but I see so much of your philosophy in that show. And I don't mean like, you know, machinations and killing people, whatever. I mean more that you got to stand out, and you got to be willing to get fired from a place or let go from a place to make a stand for how you operate and stand out from everyone else. And I think I've learned that in this experience that I had recently. And of course, remembering back on how you handle yourself, that there is something about wanting to make your claim in the world or lay your claim in the world and grab the attention of the people that means more than just, you know, going along with the herd and just be one of the counted and live a safe life. Is this something that you just built in you since you were a kid?
I think both my parents always taught me, like, you have to speak up for yourself because no one else will. And yeah, I am very opinionated, and sometimes I don't go about expressing that opinion the best way. But yeah, I feel like as far as like the whole getting fired thing, we criticize executives, like, you know, studio executives, for operating from a place of fear, basically, and not taking any chances, and just like that is how Hollywood operates. It operates under the word no. And, you know, everyone's just afraid to be the guy who says, or the guy or gal who says yes. And, you know, it costs them. So to me, it's like, if you are worried about getting fired the whole time, then you're not going to perform a job like I don't know, to the best of your abilities. Like, you can't have that hanging over your head. You have to just do what you believe is right and believe in your own value as like an asset to that company. If they want to let you walk over, you know, whatever it is, that's on them.
Yeah. Do you like, we're watching the show again? I'm like watching Kate Mara, watching Constance Zimmer, watching them kind of break the rules and circumvent the conversations and go around people and break into doors, offices to get, like, has there ever been anything wild that you've done to chase a story? Like, what's the wildest thing you've ever done to chase a story?
I've done all kinds of things. I've invented email addresses. You know, I've done some shit, but I can live with it. You know, it's not going to push anybody in front of a train track.
Don't give away no spoilers. I don't know anything about. I haven't gotten a second season yet, but yeah. Okay, so you've done wild stuff. You understand that that's part of the process for you as a guy who's breaking scoops. Is this a conscious decision you made coming out of college that you didn't want to be just a writer, that you wanted to be the guy that was kind of breaking the news and announcing casting stuff or announcing projects, because you wanted to beat the studios at it?
it's a tough town to stand out in, that's for sure. And there is a lot of competition. There's, even more competition now than there was then. So yeah, you're always searching for that edge, and I have a voice. A lot of, there are a lot of good reporters out there who don't really have a voice because, they're just the facts, ma'am, all the time. They don't really get to veer off into opinions, and so they learn not to have them, basically. But yeah, if I waited for permission to break news, from these studios when they say, well, now you can go. Well, you might as well just announce it at this point and send a press release to everybody. Like, the whole point is getting there early and getting there often.
Yeah. That was some of the stuff, some of the guff you took, I think a year ago or a year and a half ago, when you made that comment on Twitter and people just came after you when you said, I should be the next important call you make, or I'm the most important call you'll ever make. And this is, once again, this is your outlandish way of standing out. Like, you're willing to say something that you do kind of believe in, even though it's crazy. But in this town, yes, the outside world criticizes, thinks it's crazy, but in this town, it's actually par for the course.
That's kind of the thing. It's like, I totally understand that I am arrogant, and that is like my own downfall,
right?
And I'm a bit of a narcissist, and I'm working on that in therapy. I've been working on that for a long time. And then, then you have something like that tweet, which is a setback, that ego sort of comes out, and it's not healthy. And I did feel bad, and I tried to apologize to that young woman, and couldn't reach her or whatever. She wasn't interested in hearing, and that's totally fine. That's her prerogative. She knew that I wanted to try to make amends. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, man, like, if Steven Spielberg's calling you, like, that's great for you. But like, if you miss that call, Steven Spielberg will call back, or you'll call back Steven Spielberg. Like, what happens with me is, if you don't answer the call and I can't reach you, then you can read about it on the internet like everybody else. Yeah. And that's not me being arrogant. That's just like, that's the nature of the job. If I don't hear from you, or you're dodging calls, dodging emails, whatever it is, you end up being a spectator.
And look, I mean, it occurs to me right now as we're talking, Frosty Weintraub, who is your boss over there at Collider, I guess you can, for lack of a better term, your boss there at Collider. You've worked for other editors, other people in the past. Do you find a similarity in that you want to run with a story, but do you find here there's even more stringent regulations here? Like, you got to double, triple check, quadruple check, make sure you're not pissing off a studio or an act? Or do you feel like you're going to take a chance and you push the article through and make them publish it?
I mean, I've come to, not only do I trust my sources at this point, and you have to believe your sources. Otherwise, like, what's the point of having them?
Yeah. Fostering them and grooming them. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course. And, I've been doing this for a long time. So I know people who keep their ear to the ground for me or whatever, and let me know things from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, half the battle is really getting a source to recognize what is news, because they hear so much stuff all day. And to them, it's just, this is what people talk about. They don't even recognize, like, oh, this could be something that gets, a website thousands of clicks and a lot of attention or something. So that's sort of half the battle. I feel like I'm going off course from where this question started.
No, I like it. We're exploring all. Well, no, we're exploring all the angles. Is like, well, have you worked for other companies in the past that kind of just trusted you? Yeah.
So, like, I've worked for, like, killers. That's the thing. Like, if you're a Hollywood Reporter, and granted, Hollywood Reporter's undergone a whole bunch of changes in the last month, so, like, this whole conversation is null and void. But like, whether it was 6 months ago or whatever, if you're a Hollywood Reporter, like, I haven't burned a bridge at Hollywood Reporter. I've never worked there, and I respect a lot of the writers and editors there. And it's like, why am I so unhireable? Well, I work with these editors who totally turned me loose, and, like, I don't regret it at all. But I work for my mentors in the business were Sharon Waxman, who runs The Wrap, and Josh, who was my editor at The Wrap, Variety twice, and Mashable. So it's like, I worked under the tutelage of two people, one of whom, Josh, God bless him, who's, out of the business. Yeah. Sharon's still running things. And, as much as I love the people at The Wrap, I don't feel like The Wrap has grown at all since I've left the site. The Wrap is still here, and to its credit, like, she has done an amazing job elbowing a place for herself at the table with the other trades. But, it seems like the site has plateaued to me.
Right. Well, they seem to expand it into politics. I've seen sports
They always
articles.
That's where the hits are. That's where
Yeah.
the hits are in controversy and in divisiveness,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
politics is obviously the biggest battleground for something like that.
I've seen them branch into sports as well and break some. I mean, BuzzFeed News breaking political news as well. It's really interesting how these websites are starting to like expand out into other. Maybe they're not growing, but they're expanding out into multiple different areas.
You
of
have to do a
interest.
little bit of everything these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of my edges as a reporter is that I break film and television news.
Yeah,
Guys who just break television news, or people who just break movie news. So to be able to straddle both worlds, that's the way talent is doing it.
Yeah.
You can differentiate between a movie star and someone who's doing an 8-episode series for HBO anymore. But it's I don't know. To me, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, you look at something like Nicolas Cage, like going and doing an 8-episode or whatever it is, a miniseries for this Tiger King situation. Is that something that for you covered for such a long time? This is the worlds kind of slamming into each other, the film world and the TV world. This is becoming, I know it had been like a big thing to do, but now it almost seems commonplace. Kate Blanchett on Miss America, or what's going on there? Like you see a lot of these film stars now walking into television because they know they can just do a series and be out. Has that surprised you how the landscape has changed?
I mean, it has definitely flopped, I feel like, since I got to town. Like, it was always movies. And now then there's this golden age of television, which has, now led to all these limited series. And the fact that talent isn't locked in for a course of 5 seasons like it used to be. Yeah. They're not making some, gigantic decision and they can be, done with it in 9 months or 6 months, whatever it is. Yeah, they're going to get higher caliber talent. Plus that talent is being asked to participate as producers often on a lot of these things.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like movies or TV shows now. Now they do TV shows out of movies. And the biggest thing is podcasts. How many shows and movies are being developed based on podcasts? That's true. Crazy.
Yeah, that's the next thing I need to master. I do all these podcasts. I need to figure out how to do one that's going to be turned into a movie, for God's sakes. You look at this other thing.
Who would play John Rocha in the movie? That's my question.
There's only one person, Charlie Sheen. There's nobody else to play John Rocha in the movie. Come on, Wild Thing's got to play me, for God's sakes.
I feel like Charlie Sheen would play me, but all right.
What? You're insane. You look at this situation here with what's happening as the film and TV world now, with the production shutdowns and the delays and the coronavirus stuff. Like and then today, as we're recording this, earlier today, we had that health expert here in Los Angeles say that they thought it was going to be another 3 months. Garcetti was playing a little bit of damage control on CNN about it. So what are you hearing behind the scenes? What are you actually hearing, if you can say, from some sources that you have groomed and have contacts with about what's going to go on with film and television here? Is there a legitimate worry that if this lasts any longer, there's legitimate jobs, studios, things that could be lost?
I mean, that stuff has already happened and may very well continue to happen. I mean, to me, that crazy report about Amazon buying AMC theaters that now they learned was an error, and it was actually AMC Networks that they were talking about. But who knew that AMC Networks was in seller mode or whatever? I think that there's definitely going to be a lot of consolidation. Places like Paramount and Sony that don't have their own streaming services. I know Paramount has Paramount Network, Sony has Crackle, but those things are. I mean, Crackle's had some time to have a foothold, actually, some kind of small footprint, but. Yeah, like these studios are not well positioned for the future. I think that is absolutely fair to say. Not like the other studios, nor do they have theme parks. Although right now, a theme park is like an absolute killer. Like that's the great equalizer in terms of Universal and Disney, because they're just hemorrhaging money on these parks. Yeah,
I was reading a report today. What Disney is losing has taken on $18 billion, I think, of debt because of the parks and the movies. That's a lot to be carrying to stay alive. So yeah, you can say Disney has like 60% of the box office, or whatever they say. It's a big carbon footprint in the box office, but the amount of money, it has surprised me, Jeff, and maybe because you're more knowledgeable about stuff, but it has surprised me how many studios, businesses, production companies were 1 or 2 paycheck cycles away from being completely out of business or broke. I was shocked that everyone is living like a person on, beyond their means. I thought they had money in reserve and just like prepared for any kind of things that could happen here. Like, look, we have earthquakes here. Why would you not have some kind of fund set up to save you, some kind of savings account? Has this surprised you at all?
I mean, yes, for sure. Certainly, in terms of corporations and companies that have had to, do these, massive furloughs, and like they're losing legitimate agents. So, obviously WME is taking a real hit because it was so over leveraged with live events that are no longer taking place.
Right.
Concerts and things like that, although UFC managed to happen. But yeah, these places are losing a ton of money, and they're having to let people go. And it just makes them, I don't know, more acquisition targets too. Like there's a bit of weakness there. I just think everyone's being very naive about returning to production. Like I haven't heard anything concrete. If they are, it's like Tyler Perry, who operates out of his own, small studio in Atlanta. Listen,
working that non-union bullshit.
I don't know what he's planned, like all the specifics, but
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, you're looking at all these studios. And it'd be different, like, and someone said this to me the other day, and I thought it's very interesting to think about. It'd be different if they had planned for this ahead of time. Like, like restaurants close down for like 3 months for remodeling or whatever. Like studios will do that or businesses will do that. But this came out of the blue, and it is shocking to see how many of them did not have an emergency situation set up for themselves just in case. And if this thing extends longer, what do you think in terms of acquisitions? I want to follow up on what you just said here. Where do you see, like, what do you see happening here? And how do you anticipate that it'll change the landscape? Do we stop having, like, a lot of people are speculating at the end of the independent movie, the end of the medium range movie, that all those will probably go to streaming and we just get the big movies? But are the big movies now possibly in peril if this keeps going on?
I think that budgets will come down. Yeah. I do not think that studios will shell out $200-300 million on a movie anymore with the theatrical revenue model like that. It's just damaged. It's just damaged forever, really. There's probably a lot of people who will never return to theaters. Yeah, I think we have to come to grips with that. Yeah. Particularly older people. So yeah, I think that you will see different kinds of movies made. Smaller gambles, smaller risks, because you're going to need a smaller crew too. You're not going to be able to even have scenes, these epic sword and sandal movies with 400 extras. I don't even think you can do that anymore. Right. So it's going to change what gets greenlit, because the actors are actually the most exposed people. They have to wear their costumes. They can't be in a mask and gloves in the middle of the scene, right? So they're going to be unprotected. Yeah. So, there's a lot of considerations to go into, and that's why I just don't see anything starting production anytime soon. Yeah, you said that people are being naive. What do you mean by naive? Do you think people are speculating, oh, we'll start next month, or we'll release movies? Like we see Tenet and we see Mulan supposedly being the next two movies to come out, and then that Russell Crowe trailer came out today, trumpeting that it will be the first movie in theaters. Like, what are they just trying to, like, I don't know. It almost feels like they're just trying to fool you into thinking everything's going to be normal soon. Just hang on. Yes, as a business model. I honestly think that you're right. That it gives you like this false sense of security. Yeah. That like, oh, don't worry. Like, there's still going to be summer movies. I think you're crazy if you think Tenet is coming out. Like, I don't have cable. I do everything streaming, so I'm not exposed to a ton of commercials. Right. What are the commercials like? It's 2 months from release. Are you seeing commercials? I've seen nothing. I watch regular TV. I have cable. I see nothing. I mean, okay. Well, if there are people in the chat, I'm genuinely curious. If you have cable, are you seeing Tenet ads? Because I just can't imagine Warner Brothers is spending money to advertise a movie that in all likelihood is not going to come out. As we heard today, they're thinking 3 more months for Los Angeles. How do you release Tenet in markets that isn't your biggest or second biggest with New York, which is the other hotbed for this virus? Like, you think that's going to open too? Like, without New York and LA, what's the point of even opening this movie? Yeah, exactly. And I'm so surprised, Jeff, that there haven't been pictures that have come out of the stacks and stacks of bodies that are happening in New York. I'm hearing so many insane things about the numbers from people who are on the ground in New York that I know are telling me the numbers
of bodies, and of course we're getting the amounts, but the look. And I wish more pictures would come out of this stuff so people really understood what's actually happening, because people are so desperate to run back and have some sense of normalcy. And the studios, the sports leagues, these businesses seem to be complicit in deluding the people, deluding us that it's going to be fine in just a month or two. And then you've got Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci, testifying today that's going to be like 18 months or a year before we see a vaccine, and then following up by saying the vaccine might not even work for everybody. And so it just seems to be that we're on a slippery slope, and everyone's just kind of trying to, keep dancing, kind of like they shoot horses, don't they? They just want to keep dancing, hoping that at some point it's going to figure itself out.
Because I think that the truth is that they're not. Ultimately, there will come a point where they'll just open the country back up, and everything will go back to normal.
Risk it.
And yes, and people will die in mass herds, unless you've developed some kind of resistance. I don't think that they can do this for a year and a half. I think you're already seeing the restlessness now after just a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm prepared to do another couple months, another 2, 3, 4 months. But yeah, after that point, there comes a point where it's like, well, what am I doing this for? I'm doing this to survive and live my life.
Right.
But I'm just doing this for the rest of my life. Now I'm just gonna live.
Yeah, I mean,
that's scary, because that's what you're seeing with Tenet. People are like, I'm just gonna go to Tenet and it's gonna be so worth it, bro. I don't care if I get sick; it's gonna be amazing. And I'm like, you're a moron. Trust me, because I've been in that hospital bed and I know it's not like, oh my God, I'm glad I saw Tenet. Oh. That's not your last thought. I promise you.
Well, let's get into that in just a second. Let's hit some of these Streamlabs and Super Chats that have rolled through. Larry Lisa, I think we answered that one. Jeff, do you expect Tenet Mulan to be delayed? I think Jeff does. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, big time. Because, Christopher Nolan came out and said he wants it to be dropped. But, I think that's all saving face PR stuff.
There's an outbreak, John. And just imagine seeing a local news reporter like tonight in New York City, outside the AMC Empire 12, 25 people who attended the 6 p.m. show of Tenet have been hospitalized. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't risk it.
Yeah, I think we had the news that
I'm not a news broadcast anchor.
In Pasadena, there was a birthday party. They connected 5 coronavirus cases to a birthday party in Pasadena. Right. So that kind of stuff is happening. Look, and that restaurant that was a big deal over the weekend, they shut that restaurant down. The government came in and said, shut this thing down. You think you can serve people for Mother's Day? Shut it down. Because there's lawsuits. There are lawsuits. No one's signing a contract, walking into a restaurant going.
There's going to be so many lawsuits.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are going to be stars who are going to be like, you know what? I've made millions of dollars. I'm not going back to work.
Yeah.
And they're in the middle of films, and you're never going to get them back on the set because why?
If you have a good financial planner, and God, you should, you're done. You're good. You're good. Your money's been invested. You're fine. You could come out of this in a positive way if you're smart about it. Larry Lease, another one. Shout out to the Outlaw. Someone is waiting for you, Rocha. I don't know what that means. Is someone waiting to kick my ass or something? I don't know. The fans, Larry gets crazy sometimes with his comments. Let's see if we got any Streamlabs that have come through. Oh, we got a few of these have come through here. Let me see. Andy Burnett says, a while back, Jeff recommended defending Jacob. Great call. What's the next big thing? Rocha, if you and Jeff were a team, what would your team name be? I don't know what, Jeff. A Beauty and the Beast? I don't know what our team name would be.
Oh, yeah, that would be tough.
That would be tough.
I'd have to think about it.
Yeah. Well, what do you see? You talked about defending Jacob on Apple TV, that Chris Evans, Michelle Dockery series, and I'm going to start that. It's on my queue once I'm done House of Cards. Is there another TV show that's about to come out or has come out that you thoroughly recommend for people to check out at this point?
I'm going to tell you the Ruffalo show. I know this much is true.
Okay.
Really, really beautiful. But that show is obviously not for everybody. That is a tough sit.
Yeah.
So, have I seen anything that's really like fun that everybody could enjoy? I don't know. Things are starting to slow down on the screen in front. I've got a bunch of movies I got to watch.
Okay.
But yeah, TV, nothing off the top of my head. I'll think on it though.
Have you gone back to watch anything like as comfort food television?
You know what I'll say? I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah. The Little Dicky show?
Dave, the Little Dicky show on FX. It's incredible.
Okay.
Like, it is the highest rated show show. Sorry, I'm just plugging in for a reason. And part of it is that he's amazing, but the supporting cast is fantastic. It's Christian's buddy Andrew Santino. You know him?
Yeah, I met him.
Yeah. And Gaeta and Benny Blanco, the music producer. So I just it's hilarious. If you like Atlanta, watch that.
Okay. What are you hearing about Karate Kid? Isn't that supposed to be ready, or did they stop shooting as well? That season 3 of Karate Kid for YouTube Red, or YouTube Premium?
I think that season 2 is out, right?
Yeah, season 2 came out a while ago. That's what I was wondering if there's a season 3.
I don't know if they've finished that season 3 yet. I don't know.
All right, because there were rumors that Elizabeth Shue was going to come back and reprise the role. That would be fun. Someone said Rocha and Sneider team name Hell Dorado. Well, I like that. I like Hell Dorado. I kind of like that, actually.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, Larry Lease was saying Jericho. What's that?
This guy's going to want to cut.
Yeah, no, I'll give him 10 cents on the dollar. Let's see. Roose Bain says, trying to think of a better pairing and simply can't. So much respect to Mighty Rocha and Sneider. You've been my favorite player for years. The 0 F's given attitude is hilarious to behold. And yet your recent rant somehow topped all that came before. Of course, referencing.
What was so controversial about it?
Are you insane? Are you insane to think you don't know what was controversial about that rant of yours? Are you serious?
How long have I been doing the Schmoedown? I never watch the Inner Geekdom matches. I always leave the studio.
Right, but no one has noticed that about you other than maybe Christian, because we all go in and out of matches depending on our attachment to the situation. But I don't think nobody knew that you had a serious grudge against the IG division. Well,
not a grudge. I just don't even consider them. I just don't even think of them, let alone Star Wars. Like, are these real? These are like things for the fans that you do because they're popular, it's fun brands and everybody knows the answers and plays along. But why would I want to sit there rewatching Lord of the Rings movies and Harry Potter movies? Are you out of your mind?
Dude, your site that you work for pumps out that content 24 hours a day. So what are you talking about? That stuff is there for you to be a part of as well.
Every site has to do it.
That's what I'm getting at.
To get by these, it doesn't make me a hypocrite. I still have to engage with these movies. I'm I still have to break news on a lot of these comic book movies, but it doesn't mean that I'm under any obligation to enjoy them. If you're gonna sit there and defend movies, I'm sorry to pick on DC because God knows what I think about Marvel. But Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, and Aquaman. These are 3 unholy movies.
I don't disagree.
They are ghastly. And it's you expect me to pretend I'm excited for these things? Get out of here.
I don't disagree with you on 2 out of 3 of those movies. I did think Birds of Prey was okay. It was a good movie. I thought the other 2 were absolutely terrible. I'm in the Aquaman train with you. Absolutely. And I know we're not the only ones, but it's a small boat that we're on about Aquaman. But what I wasn't trying to call you a hypocrite. I was just saying because the sites. I think that's ridiculous because the sites have these stories, of course. So the Schmoedown has to cater to the big crowd. If we were back in the 40s, we'd have a Westerns division. It would have all Westerns movies. It would be a Westerns belt because that's the big thing at the time.
All I was saying is that the Inner Geekdom, you know what's coming down the pipe. There's no movie that comes out of left field. Is there? You know what they're
Road to Perdition is a comic book movie. Ghost World is a comic book movie.
Bring up Road to Perdition. You know what? Road to Perdition is an incredible movie. So if you haven't seen it multiple times, that's on you.
Right. I agree. But I'm just saying there are some out of left field choices for comic book or superhero movies, and there are there's 300 movies.
I love Logan. I love Kick-Ass. There's a lot of comic book movies I like.
That's your sensibility.
Generally speaking, The Dark Knight, amazing. But generally speaking, the genre is overpraised and overwatched. It doesn't deserve the love that it gets, while my beloved indies get ignored.
Well, that's fair. But your beloved indies have always been ignored. That's kind of the point, except for the 90s. Obviously, the 90s with Miramax.
Go along and say, well, that's just the way it is.
No.
My job is to introduce people to movies that they would never otherwise watch. You know how many people are like, oh, man, thanks for the recommendation on the platform. Sure. I live for that shit.
Mm-hmm. You're the gatekeeper to independent movies. I respect that. As a fan of independent movies from the 90s on, which is what really kind of reawoke my love of cinema. Again, I always appreciate the fact that you champion these smaller films or these medium-sized films to get a bigger audience.
Not the really teeny tiny garbage indies that IndieWIRE will make you think is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, I love IndieWire's top 50. It's always like the cow's horn or something like you've never heard of it at all, and saw like 6 people were in the theater with you when you saw it. It's crazy to me sometimes with IndieWire. Do you have a line that like because I mean you veer into the Scorsese cinema kind of camp with this talk? Do you give more credibility to what Scorsese said? I mean, I think Coppola was trying to poke the bear because Coppola loves to cause drama. He's a little drama queen.
I mean,
but like Scorsese.
Certain comic book movies are cinema, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I understand what he was trying to say. I don't think that he went about saying it in the right way. Even I think it's a little unfair. Yeah. Because there's certainly movies that qualify as cinema, but at the same time, I want to see, this has always been me, even in my writing, I want things to happen that can actually happen. Yeah. I've never had a head for fantasy. Maybe my imagination just isn't rigged for it, but I want stories about people and human experiences. And that's really all it comes down to. But
every one of these superhero fantasy movies have humans at the center of them.
They have human emotions. So that
wait. Aragorn is a human being.
Are you like? I can't take you seriously. You started as soon as you said the word Aragorn, I'm just like, nope.
I'm just saying. I think all of these
not real. Aragorn's struggles are not relatable.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, well. Maybe we'd all like to look as good as Viggo Mortensen does. That's for sure. To have 2 women fight for us basically over a trilogy. Of course, we'd all like that situation.
I'm not saying you can't get wrapped up in the lives of fictional characters, whether it's Buzz and Woody from Toy Story. I'm not going to be like, well, they're toys, so I don't give a shit about them. Toy Story is a masterpiece.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. The Lord of the Rings were better than average geek movies.
Okay. Okay. All right.
They're good. I'm not sitting here calling them bad, but I know they're not for me.
That's fair. Andrew Hale says, Rocha, who played Emily Rose in The Exorcism of Emily Rose? Hashtag Schmoedown prep. Ooh. Do you remember this one?
Yes.
Who played Emily Rose?
Jennifer Carpenter.
There you go. From Dexter?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
She had her big break.
Yeah. That's I remember her from Quarantine. A small movie, maybe an indie movie. Let me go back to Streamlabs real quick. That was a great question. Thank you so much. From Roos Bain. Drunken Prayer says, following up on questions about productions, the UK government has said TV and movies could start up here in June. Do you guys think if that happens here or elsewhere, Hollywood would think about ramping up or investing more internationally? That's a good question. Do you think, Jeff, if they see other territories doing it, they'll send their productions 100%. There no matter how much it costs? Okay.
Yeah, I think you're going to see people already making plans to go to Iceland.
Oh, shit.
Iceland has already started. And I think there's been a couple of other countries that have already, said that it's okay. New Zealand being one of them. I love it. Deadline had the exclusive, I love that even the New Zealand Film Commission feels this pressure. They got to get the story to Deadline. Got to get it to them. Got to give them the early scoop. Feeling back open for business. It's just they got the whole world rigged.
Well, my girlfriend keeps trying to tell me we got to move to New Zealand. We'll see, but you got to sit in quarantine for 14 days. Yeah. I want to visit the Shire and set it on fire myself personally.
That is not why I would be going to New Zealand. I do not give a shit where the Shire is.
I'd love to see Jeff Sneider at the Shire. That would be brilliant. Lawrence Lee's Lease.
Next door. I don't care.
Lawrence Lee says, "What is your outlook for movie theaters? Do you feel like we covered that, or what, do you have more to say on that? What is your outlook?"
It's not great.
Yeah.
Not great. I believe in the power of theatrical. I think that going to see a movie is very different than seeing, just dialing it up on demand here in my living room. I think there's something romantic about it. I love laughing, particularly comedies, horror movies, laughing, being scared. those feelings are intensified by being with a crowd that's on the same level as you. So I can't wait for theaters to reopen, but I'm also in no rush to go to them, and I will absolutely let plenty of my colleagues attend press screenings for a couple months, and we'll see if we start hearing on Twitter that they start dropping like flies.
And let's be real, and I'm not trying to be mean here, but our colleagues aren't exactly the healthiest people in the world. So
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
you're right. They could start dropping like flies.
Yes, we all probably have diabetes. I haven't had nachos or a pretzel in like 2 months, and yet I'm still gaining weight. What is happening?
I know. This is why I got my bike tuned up. I've been riding my bike 3 times a week. And Lindley and I will go for walks for an hour whenever she's in town. She's been out of town the last couple of weeks, but we usually go for a walk for an hour late at night where not a lot of people are around because we got to stay active, or else both of us at our ages, we're going to put on the poundage. And it's tough not to eat out, man. That's my thing. It's always been my vice, is eating out. It's real tough to buy groceries and just kind of make your food. I like being able to eat out, so it's been tough.
I've been eating out since I left home, since I went to college. I have no idea how to cook anything. I can pour milk in a bowl of cereal. I can toast a bagel to perfection.
Breaking
news.
news.
I did get on the treadmill today, though.
Oh, you did? Nice. All right.
Yeah, Steph bought a treadmill. She's barely used it.
just bringing clothes.
But we over the weekend we recommitted to using it. So I'm on a 2-day streak.
I want texts from you on the treadmill. All right. Alex O'Neill wants to ask you 2 questions. Does Jeff have a guilty pleasure movie franchise? Do you have a movie franchise that is guilty pleasure for you as a film goer?
Here's what I'll say as far as a guilty pleasure franchise. It's not necessarily a franchise, but it is one of the few universes.
Okay.
That is the View Askew universe.
Oh, you know what?
That
doesn't count.
Doesn't count? Okay, wait. So let me think. All right, guilty pleasure franchise.
Yeah, because it's not a guilty pleasure to love The View Askew. That's not a guilty pleasure. People love The View Askew.
Okay. I have plenty. I mean, they're horror franchises, so it's kind of a cheat.
Okay.
Like I love Child's Play. I've watched all those, Child's Play, Friday the 13th, Halloween, all those sequels. I've seen it. I've seen them all. But it's in terms of like the bigger franchises. Honestly, I always used to go with my mom, and we'd go to see Hunger Games.
Nice.
We would go to see each Hunger Games movie, and the first 2 were okay. Then it started to get a little stupid, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, with your mom, no less. See, I told you, man. The guy's a pussycat. You got to know how to handle Jeff Sneider, man. If people get all weirded out by his bluster, but you know what? I take Jeff and I just go, and it's fine. It's totally fine.
That's the thing. These publishers got to learn how to handle me. They expect me to just like bow down to them. It's like, no. I've been here way longer than you. Yeah. You're new to the job. Let me tell you how it works. And you're either on board or you're not.
Yeah. That's like Brad Pitt said, you're a fucking t-shirt. Alex O'Neill wants to know, his second question, what is Jeff's biggest scoop that he was the most excited to break the news on? Yeah. Do you have a scoop that you were like super proud to break?
I mean, I think I broke Momoa as the Crow, but like that's no longer happening. So, like that was like my dream, was to just find out who was going to be the next Crow. I'm not talking about like a shitty straight to DVD Crow like Eric Mabius or Edward Furlong were.
Right.
But yeah, to be the Crow. And I thought I really had it with Momoa, and I could rest easy and retire. And sure enough, they screwed me. I mean, I've broken some big ones. I've had a bunch, or not a bunch, but a few, picked up by the New York Times, which is sort of like the highest honor in terms of these things.
Right.
So I guess the biggest was Mahershala Ali starring in True Detective.
Yeah.
Because, that's just something where like everyone has a zillion ideas and you read a zillion articles and see a zillion memes.
Right.
And so to break that on like a holiday weekend was big. I broke the news that James Corden was going to take over Craig Ferguson's show.
Wow. Okay.
Anything late night, particularly, like a lot of people have come and gone from late night. They'll have a show for a year or two.
Right.
But like Gordon has clearly had staying power. So to be the guy who sort of broke that when I was calling CBS, the people answering the phone didn't even know who James Corden was. And I was like, trust me, the man upstairs knows.
British dude. He was in a show called Gavin and Stacey. Yeah, I think you know this guy. Come on. All right. And then let's see.
Jared Leto and the Joker was another big one, but again, that didn't turn out so hot. That's the thing.
Which one?
Jared Leto as the Joker.
Right.
So it's like you think that's a monster thing. This is going to be a piece of film history that like lives on, and then it's like in some shitty horrible movie like Suicide Squad, and they never bring him back, and you're like, fuck.
All right, Bruce Bain says, sorry, didn't mean to reignite the fiery passion of Sneider. Just meant to say I'm with you and nothing surprised me. We know how you feel, and it's totally uniquely refreshing. Variety among players is important. Shut on, guys, and keep up the great work, Rocha. Thank you so much, Bruce Bain. I'm sure Jeff appreciates that as well. Let me grab these. Here you go. One word, Bespin, says Larry Lease. He loves to fuck with me, that kid. Can't find a job. His new job is messing with me. I love it.
That girl's too good for you, Larry.
I got breaking news for you, Larry. I'm going to break your face next time I see you. All right, let's see. Where's the other one? Oh, there's a big one that I missed here. I skipped right past it. Sorry about that. Let me grab it real quick. It's a big one. This is from Western Iro. He says, this duo should officially be called the Comic Book Dudes. Have either of you seen the new Justice League Dark movie that just came out? Something tells me Jeff would like it. You know what? Something tells me Jeff would not like it. Jeff, did you see this movie yet?
No. So here's the thing. I have been curious about the animated Batman movies.
Okay.
Some people tell me that they're really good, but I watched the one that I really wanted to see, which was the one based on The Killing Joke, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. That wasn't a good one, though, man.
It wasn't good at all. And I was like, you know what? This is so stupid. I'm never watching any of these dumb movies ever again.
Yeah, that was a colossal train wreck, dude. They fucked that movie up because they put
a big chance watching.
Yeah, well, they put those 20 minutes, they added those 20 minutes that are not in the graphic novel at the beginning, and they made Batgirl sleep with Batman, and it was all kinds of weird, and she had a gay best, like it was just all kinds of wrong. There's nothing to do with the main story, and they were trying to because of the misogynistic accusations about the book, they tried to make Barbara Gordon a different thing, but it just didn't work overall. But
I've already spoken too much about it. We've already spent too much time.
I would recommend to you.
Yeah, Weston, I have not seen the new Justice League Dark animated movie. Sorry.
Well, that gives me two things. First, you should, if you're going to take a chance again, you should watch Gotham by Gaslight. That's the one with him and I think Harry Houdini. And
Is there a Long Halloween one?
And the Long Halloween's, there's that one as well. Or Dark Knight Returns, which is a two-parter that is fantastic, based on the graphic novel that is incredible.
Maybe I do Long Halloween. I don't know.
But listen, you hear this stuff with Justice League Dark, just jump off here, J.J. Abrams, all this kind of stuff. Do you think we're hitting a saturation point, or do you think we're never going to hit a saturation point as long as inventive creators are involved with these projects?
Listen, I think everything, including this, is cyclical. Okay. And eventually people will be burned out on these stories, particularly as they become not, Superman or I love that, Warner Brothers getting back to Superman immediately. Yeah, we're just getting into the nitty gritty of some of these superheroes. And it's I'm finding it very hard for myself to care.
Wow. Do you think you say this is cyclical. Do you feel or do you sense that another genre or type of movie is coming that will take the place of these comic book movies yet? Or have you not seen it yet? Signs that another genre is coming in to take its place?
It's a good question. I mean, again, I'm not sure. Looking at the development, I think big sci-fi stuff is still really popular from what I can tell in development. There's definitely fewer straight action movies, a lot of fewer studio comedies.
Yeah.
People who used to lead studio comedies are now doing more serious type stuff.
Yeah.
But after this is a dark time right now. I think that people are going to be really ready to laugh. And that's what I wrote just now on Collider about Reese Witherspoon doing a pair of romantic comedies with Netflix. I think it's smart of her. People don't want to see her in another depressing 8-episode series.
Yeah, Little Fires or whatever it was. Yeah.
It was just full of super unlikable people.
Yeah. People want more from that situation. Mike says, Jeff, when will we see your Comedy Central roast interviews?
Depends on which ones. I did a really good carpet at who was it? It was the one that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was hosting.
Okay.
Who was it? Bruce Willis? No. It was Al Baldwin. I don't friggin' know who it was, but the last Comedy Central one that I went to sucked. And they didn't bring me anybody on the carpet. I spoke to 2 people. I just stood there sweating my balls off all day in the hot sun. And I'm done. I've retired. I'm never doing another red carpet. You could not pay me to do another red carpet.
Yeah, those are not easy to do. I've done a few of them. I like talking to people, so I don't mind doing the red carpets because they're actually fun if the people want to engage with you, right? If they're just running through a cycle, then you're wasting your time. When I did the Saturn Awards, it was really nice to get like 5 minutes with Melissa Benoist and 5 minutes with one of the actors from The Expanse and 5 minutes with Gina Torres, and that was nice. But most of the time it's like 3 questions in 1 minute. That's all you get. And it's quick answers and they're going. So it all depends, because as you can tell, I do enjoy conversing with people, but it's got to be the right situation.
That's
so
you like your long form interview show, the deep cut. I also really like to, sit down and have a chance to talk to an actor, get to know them a little bit. Mm-hmm. So just a quick soundbite thing, it doesn't work for me. You're jostling for time with, there's always a bigger outlet.
Yep.
And the thing is, I was just spoiled because I started off at Variety, and the deal at the time with Variety and Hollywood Reporter is that they wouldn't have to do the carpet. They would get access to the film's, directors and stars after the movie at the premiere, sometimes where there were no other journalists. So
Right. We see Angelique Jackson is doing that. She's working all these red carpets for Variety. So clearly that isn't the full policy much anymore. Wayne Edwards has a Streamlab here. He said, when I first saw Sneider on Collider Movie Talk years ago, he annoyed the crap out of me. As time went on, I wouldn't watch Collider Movie Talk unless Sneider was on. I really appreciate his viewpoints, and the Rocha Sneider mix is explosive. Love these dudes. Yeah, that sounds about right. Jeff is an acquired taste. But when you taste
everybody,
yeah, but when you taste Jeff, it's hard to go back. Once you taste Jeff, it's hard to go back.
We had good chemistry on Movie Talk. I loved when we got to do the show together. It was, whether it was Ellis or Perry hosting, I always had fun. But yeah, I wasn't going to sit there and nod along like everybody's saying, doesn't this comic book movie look great? Like you got the wrong person, and you have to know your guest.
Yeah, I always appreciated that about you, Jeff, because there was no. When I would host sitting in, it was great because you were honest about your shit. And I always tried to bring it out of you. I always tried to battle with you about that kind of stuff. Huh?
You all bait me.
That's true. It's very true. It's fun to do it. And I've always said, me and you, this is comedy gold. This is a show. If someone could figure out how to put us onto a show, we would make a lot of money off that show. That's my personal opinion on it, because we're both so opinionated about it. And throw in a couple other people as well. All right, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody's Streamlabs or Super Chat. All right, cool. It's still open. Let me bring on a couple of people who want to ask you a question live, Jeff. And thank you so much, Wayne Edwards, for that incredible donation. Really appreciate it. Any support you guys want to send in through Streamlabs, it is much appreciated here. All right, let's bring on one of my patrons, and that is Sean Barito. Sean, what's going on, dude? How are you? This is Jeff Sneider.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good. So questions for Jeff. So can you talk about like a time where you had a story, you were ready to run with it, and someone scooped you, you were kind of pissed, but then it turned out where the story ended like badly for them?
I mean, that's happened a bunch of times. The scoop I was really bummed to lose. I think I was, I'm kind of notorious for coming to work late.
Yeah,
Rocha can attest to that. I am not a morning person, I rolled
at
into
all.
Wrap a little late, and I knew that I had the info that Benedict Cumberbatch was going to be Doctor Strange, and I got there, and like the team was in an editorial meeting, and I was like, I opened up my computer and it was dead, and I was like, oh my god, I got to like charge it, and that's going to take 5 minutes. Like I don't have 5 minutes. And so I was like, begging people in the middle of the editorial meeting, like, can I have your computer so I can post a story? I just need to get like one line and out to like mark your territory. And I think Sharon yelled at me, and she was like, I'm trying to like run a meeting here. Like, we don't care about whatever like scoop, you have. You should have been here on time with the computer plugged in. Maybe then you would have been ready for it. And I'm like, this is Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange. Like, I'm about to break the internet, lady. And she was like, I don't care. And that was that. And she won. We lost the story to deadline.
Wow. Yep.
Wow.
That's what. Yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
No. I was gonna say like that's a crazy ass story. Could you also talk about like your introductory to Schmoedown? Like, what were your thoughts about it when Christian Pali asked you to join, and your partnership with JTE, and how that evolved from beginning to end, and your title got run? Because I mean, I never was a fan of the Patriots, but because I'm from New York, anything Patriots I can't stand. but I have to admit that your guys' run is been unmatched. So can you kind of talk about the evolution of like you in the Schmoedown, like when you first started, meeting JT and so on?
Sure. Well, I mean, Rocha thinks that he's the greatest team player ever because he's got Dan Murrell on his side now, okay? It's like, you know, they're like the super team that formed, okay? Like the Lakers or the Yankees. How do you root for these guys? Okay? JT and
Cry me a river.
JT and I were not supposed to win a goddamn thing.
True.
Okay? And then we won it, and we kept winning. And I don't want to say that, you know, the league has certainly gotten, you know, tougher. I think that there's a lot more, you know, people who found out about the Schmoedown and said, oh, I would be great at that. And, you know, somehow they got on the show.
Yep.
But you know, it was a lot of fun back then. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, particularly with regards to the fan base. To me, it was just like, oh, I get to leave work for an hour and head up to 2 hours and head up to Burbank and shoot this. And it's good publicity, you know, because – you know, people know me or whatever site I was writing for at the time. It's probably the tracking board. And so, yeah, I think I played Umberto the first time around. He made some silly mistakes. Yeah, you know,
silly is underrated.
Yeah, it's one of the worst performances in the history of Schmoedown. It happens to be my first match. When I was paired with JT, I was, you know, reticent, reluctant, whatever you want to call it. I was like, who is this guy? I didn't really know him all that well. I just knew him as the intern. You know, he was
right.
You're right, Josh, the engineer. He did my Meet the Movie press at AfterBuzz. He was, you know, the guy working the controls. So it turned out he knew his stuff, and we complemented each other's strengths and weaknesses. We had the same Boston mentality. We had a great manager at the time, and Tom. I don't know, his managing skills have taken a turn. He
traded up, son. He traded up.
Fun. I wish, you know, I wish I had won that singles title over Paulo Yama. I think it really would have changed my legacy in the league. I blew it. I, you know, was in my own head, not just with the Harry Potter betting, which I should have bet 0, but the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids answer. There were a bunch of, you know, unforced errors that I made. And I think if I had won that match, I would be considered possibly one of the GOATs.
I think you absolutely would have made a case for being on Mount Rushmore. You wouldn't have knocked me or Dan off, but you certainly would have possibly solidified the 4th spot behind Rachel. If you had won, if you hadn't showed your belly against Paulo Yama, I think you absolutely would have done it. It drove me insane to watch you lose it because Paul was trying to give you that match, and I wanted it for you because I know how much you talk about your film knowledge, and you do believe it. You do believe that you are the most knowledgeable film person, huh? Yeah,
I was in my own head, and that's the game. Yeah. And that's the game. But I do believe that, yes, on any given Saturday, Sunday, whatever you want to call it, I have what it takes to beat the best.
Yeah, I don't disagree with him at all.
One more thing, Jeff.
Sean trying to ask 30 questions of me, Sean. We got other people waiting. Real quick. Make it quick.
Real quick. What do you think would have happened if you had guessed the other way with Top 10 versus the Patriots when you guys won the titles the first time?
If I had guessed the other way, what do you mean?
There would be no Patriots.
If you guys
never gone on their run.
Not won the title, how do you think the Schmoedown would have changed the other way?
I have no idea. There's no point in debating alternate theories and futures. I mean, that's an alternate dimension. Yeah,
John, he said he doesn't believe in fantasies. He doesn't believe in fantasies.
I can't even entertain that question.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Son of Batman, Batman the Red Hood. All those are animated Batman movies. You should check those out. Those are all
right. Well, thank you for the recommendation. If I give another one a shot, it'll be one of those.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Good to see you, brother.
You're welcome.
Funny stuff from Sean. Great stuff there. And I think that's the thing at the end of the day, right? If you guys don't win that, if we beat you, who knows if there's a Patriots at all? Who knows? Because we beat everybody else. We faced you guys 3 times because we kept destroying everybody else. Well, the last 2 times because we kept destroying everybody else. It was only you mother effers that we couldn't beat. And of course, you cheated in a way in that 3rd match. But like, whatever. It's water under the bridge now. We have a friendship.
Whatever it takes to win, Johnny. I taught you that.
I know it's true. I'm learning so much from Jeff Sneider and the life. Roxy traded away JT, brother man. Were you thinking in the back of your mind that you might have a shot at reuniting with JT at some point down the road? Because I think you had some comments about Andreyko, and I feel like you were laying the groundwork that you might take this jump.
No, I love Mark Andreyko. Love playing with him. I want to reiterate that right now, first and foremost, above all. Mark Andreyko is my boy and always will be my boy. Okay. Having said that, was I looking forward to the chance of whether it's even competing with JT or watching him compete on behalf of the Rockstars? Yes, I was. I mean, I thought it was a brilliant pick on my behalf. So, Christian's telling us, I mean, listen, I don't mean to get into the behind the scenes, but you've opened the can of worms.
Yeah.
Rocky's telling me that Christian would not program JT, that he didn't want to do virtual matches, right? Are they doing virtual matches? I don't even know.
Just for the Star Wars and the IG, but not for the regular singles or teams.
Not for regular season. Okay, so he didn't want to do virtual matches. JT is obviously not getting on a plane anytime soon,
right?
With everything that's going on in the world, so he's like, I can't really, program him, trade him or whatever. I don't even. It's like, does he even pass his physical? Why did this other team accept him if he's not going to be programmed? But who did we get for him? I don't even know.
You got some players for him. Josh Cavedo, I think, or Jada Param, one of those guys you got for him. But yeah, JT was traded to Robert Meyer Burnett, I think. Craziness, man. Craziness.
He's good. He's a smart guy. He's a an ingenious devil. That's
for sure. I would agree.
Roxy did what she had to do. I trust her. She, is a great captain of the ship. Mm-hmm. I hope she knows what she's doing. And maybe I'll play with JT in an exhibition match.
Right. Are you? Yeah, there's somebody put up the Founding Fathers versus the Patriots on July 4th as an exhibition match. I can't think of a better exhibition match to have with the Schmoedown than that. I would although I don't know how we do teams, because how can we consult unless they turn the mics off for you guys, like whoever's on the team.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Right? Because you'd have to be able to consult with your teammate, and it's tough to do that if other people can hear you. Yeah.
We'd have to be able to call. We'd have to be able to have a phone call.
Yep, good call. Yeah, you have to be on the phone as a side thing.
And muted for a sec, yeah.
Yep. Let me bring in Calvin. He wants to ask a question. Calvin, what's going on, man?
Oh, shit. Hey, I was in the middle of playing the game.
Better a game than yourself, Calvin.
I can hear you, but I was playing this stupid game on my iPad.
Yeah, put down the Pornhub. What's your question, brother?
It's not. That's for later. What was I going to say?
Still light out.
What up, Sneider? But I love you. I love your takes. Your crazy theatrics when you come out. What was that rainbow thing that one day? What the hell was that? You probably don't even remember what I'm talking about.
That was my girlfriend. I thought I looked great. I'm not afraid to get a little crazy.
Well, I mean, I respect that. But I have to say, Roger, because he's my boy. I was rewatching Spectacular 4 the other day, and actually I was trying to fall asleep, and I was just listening to it. Then I forgot about when you came out when you were sick with the bronchitis thing.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. He came out and everybody went, because Dan was like, I'll take on both of these motherfuckers myself. And then they're like, no. Then you come down, music starts playing, it's great. Now, you did say a story, and I want to know if it's true. Did you sneak out of, did Dad Digo actually come and sneak you out of Cedar Side?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. I was like, they would not let you get away.
Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't put anything past Tom and his abilities and the connections he has all over town, because he does. That sumbitch has connections all over town. Yeah. If anyone's going to sneak me out of Cedar Sinai, it would have been Tom. But no, he did not. I drove myself down there. Craziness, and my girlfriend came too. She ended up getting sick. But here's the story, and I'm glad Snyder's on here.
Calvin, can you mute your computer?
Oh yeah, mute your computer, Calvin, because we're getting the echo.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on. I want to hear this story. Hold on, man.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good.
Oh man, I usually mute it through YouTube. Let's see, there should be a button on here somewhere.
All right, you good now? No, you can still hear. Well, let me mute you real quick, Calvin, on the mic.
Okay.
There we don't hear you. There we go. Okay. So here's the story. I'm down there in the bowels because Christian gave me till like 11 o'clock to say I was going to come. And I said, right around 11, I started feeling like, okay, I had enough energy to go. So I drove down there by myself. My girlfriend drove a little bit later. I got there. I was super fucking exhausted. I barely put on my suit. I was sweating through the fucking suit. I said hi to a couple people, and then I went and sat down, and Chris said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Dan's going to come on. He's going to challenge the other two guys. Then the lights are going to go dark. Your music's going to hit. So I'm barely hanging on, and I'm in the corner, like the VOM or whatever they call it in the theater, just down there below the stairs in the side. And who fucking comes to the door to mess with me and mess with my shit and fuck with my prep? Jeff motherfucking Sneider steps right in. He goes, oh, hey, you showed up. And he had a sign, and I yelled at Jeff. And this is why I know Jeff and I are boys, because I yelled at Jeff from a place of pure anger, and he totally got it. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I have to prep. And Jeff took it and then opened the door with a big smile and walked out. But I couldn't tell if he was trying to fuck with me like a top 10, like an old school top 10 Patriots thing. And I did not want to go out and lose to Bibbs and Brendan Meyer because Jeff Sneider messed with my prep. So
I was rooting for you. I was actually coming out there to wish you good luck, John. And then you're like, get the fuck away from me. I was like, okay. The bear.
It's totally true. It's totally true. And I had no idea Jeff was coming to say anything nice. I thought because it's Schmoedown with Jeff and I never know what he's going to do because he's crafty SOB, but for sure. All right, Calvin. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Do you have any other question or are you good?
No, I was trying to figure out a way to lower down my mic.
Calvin, I have a question.
Jeff's got a question for you, Calvin.
I got a question for you. Who do you think would win one-on-one in basketball, me or John Rocha?
That game never did happen, right?
No.
Okay. Now, if it was a three-way between you and him and JTE, I'd say JTE. But with you and Rocha, I don't know. Rocha wears a lot of sports shit, and he knows his sports. He wears a lot of. He's got the Adidas on right now. I mean, he's ready. He's got the apparel.
I would whip the shit out of Jeff. Like Jeff,
he might be putting buckets on you, some buckets.
Jeff would not know what to do. Jeff would not know what to do. I would be all over that ass. All over that ass.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I hope someone is on that.
All right. Thanks, Calvin.
Anyway.
Appreciate it, bro. Good to see you.
No, it was Rocha.
Sneider, did you get schooled up? No, Perry didn't school me. Please. Here's what happened. Listen, whose YouTube channel was that for? Perry's. I was up like 12. I was like 12-2, and then I was like, you know what? Let her get some points. And so she got some points, and she'll deny it, of course. And who was shooting that? Her boy Frank. So it's all made to look like she totally schooled me. I was like, you know what? Let her get some points. I could have backed her down all day and all night because of the size.
Anytime that you have to start a sentence with, well, here's what happened.
Yeah, because she manipulated to make it look as if like she made this storming comeback, and I just was like, but I was being nice and playing and having fun with her, so whatever. It's for her blog, so she's gonna save face and save her brand, so respect to that. But yeah, all right. Anyway, Haskell has a Streamlab here. Says, hey guys, Jeff, with the proliferation of clickbait headlines and rumors from their sources, 90% of the time BS, according to Haskell. How much does it bother you and affect your own work? And seeing misleading headlines where headline states fact, but the article says rumor. I think you talked about this a little bit on SEN Live. Can you go further into this, answer this question?
Oh, we're like, journalists, not that I'm even going to dignify some of these people as journalists because they're not.
Fair.
I mean, you have to come at things from an authoritative place. That's why people think I'm such an asshole, because I'm so matter of fact and opinionated about everything. But it's like, I don't know. You can't tell people things that might happen. Like, who cares? Might happen. You have to be confident. Like, if I'm not confident that a deal is going to work out myself, I don't I don't tell the world that this deal is in the works if I don't think it's actually going to make. And there are plenty of those deals that I hear about where it's like, is he really going to sign on to that? And then it's like, oh yeah, that went away, because generally the people at studios, networks, whatever, will give you a sense of where things stand. Like, if it's really sensitive and they're like, listen, can you just hold off on reporting this for a couple of days? Then it's like, sure. But if they're just like, it's premature. Like, I'm going to tell you a little story. I ran an exclusive recently.
Okay.
And, the people involved had said it's premature. and then I ran it, and then another trade confirmed what I ran and put out the rest of the cast. So like the entire cast was there, you know. It's like maybe their deals weren't signed. People haven't come into the studio to sign the contract or something. Like,
right.
It's happening, and so for you to say premature, it's like it's I don't know, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is. So that's why you said.
But I mean, once again, what I touched on earlier when we started this show is this idea of like Jeff is willing to put his balls out there on the line for the stuff that he believes in. I should have taken more lessons from that. I mean, I think the way I lived for the last few years was like, let me just do the best I can, get the opportunities that I get, whatever. But maybe I should have been more rambunctious. Maybe I should have asked for more things, pushed for more things, been willing to upset the apple cart a little bit more, and risked getting fired in exchange.
You don't
for
want to be me. I am not alone in that regard. Like I have screwed myself employment-wise in this town, and it's a shame because I can be very professional. Like people think I'm just some Twitter loudmouth. Like I've sat at the table with Chinese billionaires. Like let me be clear here. Like I used to be the guy who the trades would send when the Chinese billionaires come to do press.
Wow.
Like, you know, I've been at when it's the mayor of Antonio, right, trying to get the Olympics for Los Angeles.
Villaraigosa,
parties at Paul Allen's. Like, you know, I can hold myself in perfectly sociable situations, but it's like, every now and then you have to throw an elbow, and you have to be willing to live with the consequences. And there's a lot of people I feel like who are afraid of those consequences, so they don't throw elbows. Yeah,
they're scared about what the ramifications might be, for sure, or they're scared of how people will react to it overall. Ryan Chandler says, "Here's some ducats. Sneider, what's your favorite movie from the 70s?" Since there was no MCU in the 70s, there was just FYI an amazing Spider-Man TV show in the 70s. Do you have a favorite movie from the 70s?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is my banner image on the Twitter page. I also love Dog Day Afternoon. That's one of my favorites. Listen, there's a lot of 70s and 80s movies that I like, but they're generally not the big crowd-pleasing 70s and 80s movies that are worshipped to this day. Right. I do not know Jaws the way Mark Riley knows Jaws. I do not know the Raiders of the Lost Ark and these Indiana Jones movies, which I can't stand as well. I think, I tried when the fourth one came out. I tried to rewatch the original trilogy. I made it a movie and a half in. I watched Raiders and I got halfway through the second one, and I was like, I can't do it. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't like Temple of Doom. I think it's a terrible movie. But Last Crusade is fantastic. If you ever get a chance to watch that with him and Sean Connery, it's good chemistry. It's got good chemistry between those guys, I would say, overall. All right. Marvel movies, Ant-Man. My favorite Star Wars movie is Return of the Jedi. Like, I just don't go the way that most people go. I wasn't raised on. I also, the Schmoedown early on, I wouldn't say that it does anymore because the writers are different, but early on, it really catered to the movies that Mark and Christian grew up on and that they loved, I think is fair to say. And that's why JT was so good at those movies. But those really weren't my movies. Yeah. I wonder, do you think the Patriots will be just as dominant now as they were back then? You mentioned JT, like a lot of these. JT's movie consumption is, but when you're living up in the middle of nowhere, I can't imagine there's much to do besides, just watch movies. I guess been in quarantine for like 2 years. And by the way, we should give credit to April. April was one of the first people who would watch JTE's matches, or watch all the matches, rather. She would sit there all day and write the movies that were being asked about, and then tick off how many times a question from one movie came. And that kind of guided JTE's studying strategy, where he would focus on those movies that were consistently being asked about in the Schmoedown. And that still happens now. There are certain movies we still get the questions from, as deep as they get, because for whatever reason, the writers really like this movie. And so it gets asked and gets questioned all the time. So shout out to April for her, kind of helping JT. April's a good woman. I think the point of what I was trying to say, just looking at the chat, was when I was 15, I was watching Welcome to the Dollhouse, not Roadhouse. Right. Starring? And there's a lot of Roadhouse questions. Who stars Welcome to the Dollhouse? Who stars in that one? Heather Matarazzo. That's right. Good one. Who's the director on that? As an independent director? What's his name? Todd Solondz? Was that Todd Solondz? Todd Solondz. Todd Solondz, yes. It was. All right. See, I still got it in here. Don't you tell me.
Don't you doubt me. All right. Thanks to the couple of people who signed up here, Fuad Lee and Spencer Milne 19. Yeah. If you want to sign up or subscribe to the Outlaw Nation, it's right there. They're down below, trying to march on to those 15,000 subscribers, maybe get to 20,000 down the road in the future. That would be great. And remember, the Streamlabs open. The Super Chats are open as well. So keep sending those in for the next 45 minutes. Jeff, I want to jump into the next thing that I want to talk to you about, and that is the health scare you suffered earlier this year. You're the closest person I think I know who might have possibly had this COVID-19 or coronavirus thing before it became a thing, because you were suffering with this earlier this year. You'd gone to the hospital for a number of days. You were doing these multiple breathing, medicine treatments. What happened? Can you talk about it a little bit more for the fans who maybe didn't know about this?
Well, first of all, I'm always sick. I'm terrible. Yes. I'm always sick. I was sick over Thanksgiving break when I was back, which is the last time I saw my family and was back in Boston. I was sick after Sundance with the Sundance flu that everybody seems to get. And then, I that first end of February, first week of March or whatever it was, I went to the movies late a couple nights because I got this free pass to go see movies for the year from ArcLight. Nice. Although it only worked at Pacific theaters, which means the Grove. So I'd have to travel. If I wanted to go see a free movie, I'd have to travel from Santa Monica to the Grove, which at that point you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
There was still traffic at this point. So I Grove on consecutive nights. I think I took Stephanie to see Invisible Man again, and then I wanted to see The Way Back, but they weren't showing it, even though the Google said it would be there. So I ended up seeing Onward. So Onward's the last movie I saw. Wow. So the day after I saw Onward at the Grove, I just started feeling, I did my podcast at work. I hung out with Jack on Friday, but I left the office a couple hours early at like 4 o'clock, which I normally don't do. I arrive late, but I don't leave early. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I left early at like 4:30, got home around 5:30. By the time Stephanie got in around 6:37, I was just like, something's wrong. Like I feel weird. I feared, like I felt like I had corona. Like everybody was talking about it. I had all the symptoms. But I was like, I'll wake up, I'll feel better. I just need some sleep. Woke up the next day, felt even worse. And Stephanie basically convinced me to go to the hospital. And I'm glad that she did, because I really needed to. Got there. There was nobody in the emergency room. Like we'd already heard reports like, oh, it's going to be so flooded. Like there was, It took me right away. I tested positive for influenza A. So I had the flu.
Okay.
I didn't get a corona test. So
okay. Yeah, because they weren't available at that when you were doing it.
And you have the flu and coronavirus. I would imagine that you could have both at the same time.
Sure,
so for all I know, I could have had coronavirus.
Yeah.
For all I know, I got it at Sundance. There was that article in the Hollywood Reporter recently where it's like, did coronavirus start at Sundance?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but either way, I had like a temperature of 101.2 or 101.4.
Yeah.
Couldn't breathe. I'm asthmatic to begin with, and I'm a bit of a smoker. So,
which I've told you to stop many times, but yes, go ahead.
My lungs weren't great to begin with, and I needed I've had to have oral steroid treatments before, where you go in, you breathe something for like half hour, maybe an hour tops, and you're in and out. And this time they just kept giving me those. And the more that you do of those, like, I don't know if it like messes with your blood pressure or whatever, but like my thing was racing. My pulse was racing. Yeah. So they just wanted to keep me overnight. They needed to give me fluids. I had I think it was like 6 or 8 bags of fluid. I was peeing so much.
Wow.
It was great because they gave me one of those canisters that you can pee into in bed. So you don't have to get. In fact, it was like I guess I had good insurance or decent insurance. Like the bed that I had, if you stood up off the bed, it would like start alarming. Like it could tell.
Oh, wow.
What's supposed to be on the bed. I had like leg things that were like making sure that my legs didn't get, like bad, as if my legs were going to go bad, like in a span of 24 hours. Lying. I did one night at the hospital. It was scary. I'd never, done it before. I never want to do it again. People just keep checking your blood and taking blood and giving you fluids every like 2-3 hours. So I couldn't even sleep. I think I watched Spencer Confidential that night, like the rest of America.
Yeah.
80 million views.
Is that any good? Is that any damn good?
Huh?
Is that any damn good?
You didn't see it?
I just
Mark
you know,
Wahlberg and Winston Duke. You don't see that movie?
I guess I gotta watch it. I liked Extraction, so I guess I should give Spencer Confidential a chance.
It's nothing. It's not going to blow you away.
Right.
It's very much a Netflix movie, but it's a guilty pleasure, you know. Him and
It ain't my Spencer. But anyway, go ahead. So finish your story.
They sent me home with a couple inhalers. I got my inhaler refills. I got I don't even know if it was a Z-Pack or what, but they put me on some kind of steroid, and after a week or two, my wheeze went away. I didn't smoke during that time.
Okay.
I felt fine. I did have a case of pink eye a few weeks later, and I don't know if that was related to coronavirus or whether I've got a cat that just rubs its ass in my face all the time. But that went away after 5 days and a little ointment. And I've been fine the entire time, the rest of the time in quarantine. I've been lifting weights, ready to kick your ass, and I've been running on the treadmill.
Bro, there's not enough weights you can lift to kick my ass. There's just not, Jeffy. There really isn't. Look at those things. I don't even see the form of a muscle there. What's wrong with you?
My doughy marshmallow man arms.
Well, I know I was when I heard about it, because obviously I've been let go by that time, but when I heard about it, I was like really worried about you, man. I mean, it kind of hammered home for me how much I care about you as a friend, because I was like concerned, because I also, and we've talked about this, I have lung issues as well. I've gotten bronchitis a number of times over the last 2 years. So this coronavirus thing, I'm like super vigilant about it wherever I go. I still go out, obviously, but I wear that mask, and I occasionally bring the gloves as well, because I know if I caught this thing with my compromised lungs, anything could happen. So are you making sure that you're taking care of yourself when you go out?
I ordered a couple masks. It took weeks for them to get here, but I've got plenty of masks, plenty of gloves, because Stephanie works, at a doctor's office. So occasionally things go missing. Did I say that? But yeah, no, we've got plenty of masks and gloves.
You're right.
And we're very vigilant. I can't afford any slips, any germs, because I'm susceptible to it clearly, and it eats up your lungs. So
well, Ryan Chandler says stop smoking cigarettes, just smoke weed. Yeah, okay, all right.
I definitely don't smoke cigarettes. That's not a good idea. I don't drink either. Oh
yeah, true. Jeff does not drink. That's very, very true.
Yeah, this is a root beer.
There it is. Oh, okay. All right, good point. I'm gonna bring on somebody who's waiting to talk to you, Alex O'Neill. What's up, man? How are you doing, Alex?
Hey guys, doing pretty well. How are you guys?
Good. Where are you at? New Zealand or Australia? Where are you at?
Australia, just down in Sydney.
Right on.
Yeah, so I guess sort of you touched on it earlier, and I guess as the crisis extends through the months, how realistic do you think it could be that you'd have studios start to shift their filming to Australia, to New Zealand, these places that are seemingly less affected than America?
Jeff?
I mean, I think it's a good bet. Whether those countries are sort of announcing themselves as open for business, or if they have like a backlog of productions that have been waiting to get in there and have been in line since well before this, I don't know. I mean, money talks at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Could I see Netflix moving a lot of production to Australia and New Zealand? Quite possibly. I think it's probably a good time to be on a local production over there, or the worst time ever, because you've got a bunch of Americans, God knows who, coming into the country with God knows what. So I imagine that everyone is going to quarantine though for a period of time, whether that's 10 days or a full 2 weeks. And, they're certainly going to be following certain safety protocols. But like I said, I think that there's going to be fewer actors in scenes, fewer crew members on set, things like that.
Are you concerned? Yeah, in Australia, are you concerned about a bunch of Americans just storming your shores to try and shoot films who are maybe hiding their condition?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting, because I guess the main outbreak for us has come from a few cruise ships that have come in. So a lot of external cases sort of affecting Australia, which is pretty interesting. But look, I think like Jeff's saying, I think if everyone quarantined for 2 weeks, that sort of thing, and then got tested, it really could be a way to boost the economy over here, and something it'll be interesting to see if they explore, because I know they were talking potentially about moving Premier League games down here if they were going to base out of Perth, but who knows if that's going to happen.
Again, It's all about the stars. If the stars will lead by example, because they have the most to lose, so to speak. I mean, we all have our lives. Like, it's not like a star's life is more valuable than someone on the cruise. But like, if the star is willing to get on a plane and travel to New Zealand or Australia, then I think that others will possibly take the same risk, make the same sacrifice.
Yeah, like if Tom Cruise goes, I'm going to do 7 and 8 Mission Impossible down Australia, the whole crew is coming. The studio's coming. Everybody is coming. If Tom Cruise wants to do Mission Impossible 7 and 8 down there in Australia. So, yeah, absolutely.
Tom Hanks got coronavirus when he went to the Gold Coast. So
yeah, right. Right. All right. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate you chiming in, man. Good to see you.
Thanks.
Be safe, dude. Be healthy. It's crazy, dude. There's so much going on with this stuff. I don't, you're hearing it pop up. You're hearing the numbers. It's nutty. It's absolutely nutty. What's it like in like? What are you hearing about in Boston? I mean, we're hearing the cases every once in a while, but like, is your family all right? Is everybody? Could you know anybody who's gotten this in your family?
Family's been good. Everybody's been good, thankfully. Grandma's sort of been holed away in a tower in Chestnut Hill. But yeah, it is a lot of like nursing homes, retirement homes, older folks. No one that I know in Massachusetts, I don't think, has come down with it.
Okay.
But certainly it seems like the East Coast is a hotbed.
Right. That's what I'm sensing as well, that it's becoming that way. Well, as like I mentioned, the production stuff slowing down, like something you touched on when we spoke last a few weeks ago is this idea of you felt a little weird breaking stories now. Like it's almost like you're participating in this false sense of belief of normalcy that will resume. Do you feel like it's weird for you to do it because you almost feel a responsibility that you're actually helping the studios create this idea that we're going to be back to normal anytime soon?
It definitely is weird. I mean, on one hand, these things are happening. Like Hollywood is conducting business as usual, and so it's my job to report on that business, even if I don't think that things are actually going to happen anytime soon. And I hope I'm not giving the false impression that they are in the actual articles.
Right.
I certainly think that there's not quite the same hunger. It does feel a little bit more trivial in the scheme of things. That said, I've been on a nice little roll. I've had a good week in terms of exclusives and stuff, and I want to justify my paycheck. Like I don't want to be some albatross on the site who's like a well-paid writer, even though I think I'm underpaid. In relation to others, they may think I'm well-paid, and so I don't want to be a well-paid guy who's not contributing and not doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is working hard to break news. So I'm still at it and still talking to people, but it is not quite with the same fervor as before. I will grant you that.
Yeah. Do you feel like publicists and agents? Because I mean, the thing about you is that you'll take agents to lunch or dinner or you meet up. Like that's a big part of what you feel is essential to break these scoops rather. Do you feel that aspect of it has been taken away from you? Is it harder for you to meet up over Zoom or over Skype or whatever with these publicists and these agents and these managers to try to get the scoop, or is it all just being done over the phone?
I mean, for me, it's been a lot of phone stuff. I haven't really participated in any of the virtual junkets or things like that a lot of Collider people have. I mean, I haven't done a ton of interviews. The interviews I have done have been over the phone. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's a tricky thing to talk about. I've stayed in touch with sources, and I think that they're all available. But the problem is that if you don't have their cell phone number, it's get a hold of them because there's no one answering at the office. So you can send them an email, but that email may not, be read or maybe overlooked, or you just may not get a response in time. So you want to try to check in on everybody, make sure everybody's okay, because they've risked a lot of times. These people have risked their jobs to tell you things that they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
A lot of them are friends too, but I would have to admit that I haven't maybe heard from as many of them as often.
Yeah, it feels like we're all in a sense in this kind of holding pattern to a degree, and you're waiting for one domino to fall for everything else to come tumbling out afterwards. Do you have a whiteboard? I remember you having a whiteboard at the job. Do you have anything simulating that at your house?
I do not. I've been very disorganized. I haven't checked. Like I got a bunch of great information right before lockdown, and thankfully I have the notebook. It's not, I didn't leave it at the office or anything, but
Right.
I have not gone back to the notebook, in a while to sort of check up on things, because I just feel like, well, everything's sort of on pause. Like, you're lucky to find the stuff that's not on pause. Most of the deals you're reading about are script buys or book buys and director attachments, because those people can work on those things from home.
Right.
A director can devise a shot list or do, oversee storyboards, whatever the hell directors do, But, a lot of my thing was casting, and those announcements are definitely fewer and far between, because casting is all about scheduling and availability.
Right.
And no one knows when things are going to start, so no one knows if they're going to be available.
Yeah. Do you think, are you chasing down a big one? You're always chasing down a big one. Is there one you're working on right now that you can let us in on, or you just want to keep it to yourself?
Even if I'm not, I wouldn't tell you. I'd want to tell all my competitors who are watching this, I'm chasing a huge scoop. Maybe it's the scoop you're working on right now. Maybe it's I don't know.
I love that you think they're watching. I appreciate it.
Got a few balls in the air, but nothing too major. It's not like I'm sitting on any big Marvel or DC news.
All right. We got real quick. I got about 100, almost 180 y'all in here watching us live. Please click that like button. Get us up over 150 likes. I'd really appreciate it if we get that far on here. We got about 30 more minutes with Jeff, give or take. There's someone else waiting to talk to you here. It seems the director.
Holy, am I live with Rocha and Sneider right now? It was that easy.
It is that easy.
Oh, my Lord.
Who is this gentleman?
My name is Alan Smithy. I'm the director. But anyway, Sneider, you've made some intense statements lately about IG, which I actually agree with. I can't stand half the Marvel comic movies. My God, those movies are long as hell. Don't you agree?
Well, yes. I mean, I love Judd Apatow movies. Those are long as hell, too. So I don't mind the length, but you're right. Some of these comic book movies are just numbing.
Yeah, it's like you're going to make 25 movies in a series, make them 90 minutes long. That's all I can handle. Half of the movie is people just punching each other out anyway. Come on.
Agreed. They could definitely use a firmer hand at the editing bay.
That's right. But I hope you support the singles league and the teams league, because that's where it's at, right?
For me, it's always been. I mean, I've always preferred the teams league. I don't even.
Where else are you going to get a Moscow on the Hudson question? You know what I'm saying?
Sure, those are definitely the leagues that built the league, and I have no regrets about my IG rant.
That's the way it goes. I like it.
I'm not trying to take anything away from people like Janine who work hard. That's great. I'm sorry that it either comes natural to me or that I have some job that allows me to see a bunch of free movies. Believe me, I'm still spending as much on movies as the average person.
All right.
Fair enough.
Have you seen the Capone movie yet? That's only been out for 24 hours or something.
I did, because that's how I roll, because I'm a true movie fan.
And give us, is it this or is it this? Come on.
Unfortunately, I thought it looked good. I was really excited for this. It's going to have to be
one fishnet stocking thumb down.
Yeah, not good.
Anyway, while I have you here, Sneider, I just got to say, boy, you got a panty on your arm.
There's a thumb hole here. It's a glove.
Right. I love it.
All right. Thank you guys
for
entertaining us with the Schmoedown and your views of cinema. I love it. Roller coaster or cinema, I'll take it. I don't care.
This should be a whole character. You should do a whole.
That's what I'm doing. I'm working on it, buddy.
I love it. It's great.
Alan Smithy is the best director in cinema history, and you know that.
He is. He'll be the first one to tell you that. All right. Thanks so much for chiming in. Take care, brother. Who the hell was that? I have no idea who that was.
I loved him. Give him his own show.
Absolutely. I'd love to have him on and do a segment on the Outlaw Nation show every week about whoever's on as a guest. That was incredible. That was incredible. Damn. All right. Let's see. Yeah. How was Tom Hardy in the movie? Was Tom Hardy any good in the movie?
I mean, again, I respect this guy's commitment.
Sure.
He certainly does not take the easy way out, and he's rolling around in shit for half this movie.
Right.
Chomping on a cigar. So he has very communicative eyes, and you know, he is a good actor, but yeah, the script just doesn't give him much to work with. It's just him grunting. Like, I watched the movie with subtitles on because people told me he was so hard to understand. Half the subtitled dialogue is just grunt, inaudible, like yelling. Like, it's really quite bizarre, frankly. And it made me like re-examine, like, geez, is Tom Hardy, like, does the Emperor have no clothes with him? Is he as good as we all thought he was with Mad Max and Tinker Tailor and Warrior and Locke? Or is he the other Tom Hardy who really can't make a bad movie interesting? You know what I mean? Child 44 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, look, I tried to watch Legend. I feel the same way. Legend was like I was watching an acting exercise by Tom Hardy to try to play two different characters, but there was no, I mean, he did an effective job, but they weren't relatable. Like, you couldn't connect to these characters in that film. So I don't know, maybe it's directors who get a hold of him and he's going to do his thing. And that's that, you know, I mean, I'll defend Dark Knight Rises. I'll defend his performance in that. I liked him in that. But I agree. There are other films where you're just like, well, what's happening here? But it's not like unusual, right? We've seen actors who come in. Brando did this. Brando blew up the scene in the film, and then he started doing these weird characters. Like, what's he doing in One-Eyed Jacks? Like, it's just weird stuff. And then, like, Last Tango in Paris. And then he comes back to the things that make him good, which is like Apocalypse Now and Godfather. But like, he can go into weird directions, like Island of Dr. Moreau, you know?
Well, that is exactly what this is, basically, for Hardy. I mean, first of all, Hardy was supposed to play Marlon Brando. He looks just like him. There's shots in the Capone movie, particularly with, you know, when he has like the latex on and everything. Like, he looks exactly like Marlon Brando. Like, Brando would have crushed this. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, listen, anytime that you're asking a guy to waddle around in a diaper with a Tommy gun, he's going to look a little ridiculous. And I'm afraid that's how I felt about the movie.
Well, that kills my interest in the movie 1,000%. What are some of you do? What are the movies that I mean, we've talked about this at work all the time. You can get real frustrated that the people who are covering these movies don't necessarily understand the basis or the foundation of these movies. And I don't mean like our more elevated colleagues. I mean some of maybe the newer people coming in, they haven't watched the classics. They haven't watched. Do you think this is an essential thing to be able to talk about movies and write about movies, is having been immersed in the classics and the foundation that built the idea of cinema?
I am not going to sit here and defend the classics, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
I've always been someone who's been, you know, kind of indifferent to the movies that were made before me. I mean, again, there's plenty of movies that I love from the 60s, 70s, or whatever, but like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, if you haven't seen Duck Soup, you've never seen a comedy before. Like, yeah, I think you have to know what Duck Soup is.
You went to Duck Soup? Okay.
Steeped in film culture. But yeah, I don't know if I think that a lot of movies that have been called classics over the years are horribly overrated, and they do not hold up at all. They were classics back in their day, but very few films from back then, to me, you know, rise to my standards today.
Yeah. But Duck Soup is great, though. By the way, people should. The Marx Brothers, don't skip on the Marx Brothers, man.
I'm sure it is. You know.
A lot of our fans enjoy. Look at this. Duck Soup rules. Duck Soup is great, though. There you go. You got some Duck Soup fans.
Like that was one I just pulled out of my ass. And it's like, if you don't know what Duck Soup is, then I'm like, okay, well, I mean, who am I talking to? Which I think that you need to like have seen Duck Soup. No.
Well, what do you have left to accomplish now in this? Like, what do you see going forward in the Schmoedown in your situation? Like, what do you have left to accomplish here? I mean, you were the first one, which really pissed me off. You were the first one to win the tag team belt with two different teams. I really wanted to be the first one to do that. You did it. The singles belt keeps eluding you. Is this what keeps you going? I mean, of course, it's fun. But do you have goals, or has it veered into just you're having a good time?
No, I don't have goals. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the people who root for me, and I also enjoy the people who boo me mercilessly and root against me. I enjoy being the heel. I like the competition, and I definitely want to try to win the singles belt. But if it doesn't happen, it's not going to invalidate my experience in the league. I think I've proven I'm definitely one of the best players over time. Who knows? We all think Sam Levine would just keep winning, but Sam Levine backed out of the league. A lot of people have come and gone from the league, and
True.
It's a little bit of it is they can't devote the time that they want to, but the other part of it is they're afraid.
Yeah.
And I'm on a huge losing streak, so I don't really have anything to lose. I think that I definitely get programmed against some top competitors, when there's factions and standings. It's like in the NBA. You play everyone in your conference 3 or 4 times, and then everyone from the Western Conference you play twice. Right? It's not like I'm getting a shot at 90% of the competitors in the league. I'm only facing the top 10%, and unfortunately, I do keep coming up a question short.
Yeah, you do. But that's part of how it goes. I mean, everyone has their ups and downs. You stay in this league long enough, the ebbs and flows. We talk about sports, man. We should wrap up there in the last 20 minutes here and talk about this. You're a Patriots fan. That's why you named it. Look at what's happening here with the Tom Brady situation. What was the shock for you when you woke up one morning and you saw that Tom Brady had left the Patriots to go be, of all things, a Buccaneer down in Tampa Bay?
I mean, it's not like the Bucs are in the division or anything like that. That's not like they were a big rival. I was saddened. I feel like the writing had been on the wall for a while, and I was just in denial. Really thought that he'd stick around, that they'd work out the differences with Belichick, they'd get him some receivers or whatever. But it just seemed like he felt like he'd accomplished all he could accomplish there, and now it was time for a new challenge and a new chapter. And I don't blame him for wanting to get out of New England and head down to Florida. That's not just the weather, but in terms of the taxes, right?
Yeah.
So he's got 2 great receivers there. The Patriots never really got him. I mean, they tried last year with Antonio Brown, but that lasted a game. I think Edelman is amazing. I think Edelman's one of the toughest guys in the league, and I love that he's still with the Patriots. I'm gonna be upset if we ever lose him, but it is nothing lasts forever, and you can't be mad at a guy who brought you 6 titles. So Tom Brady's earned the right to play wherever he wants. And I will be rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What about the Gronkowski thing? Was that something that shocked you as well when he said he was going to come back? Okay.
Because I still had him on my fantasy roster all of last year. I carried him all of last year, which really hurt me. And that's probably why I finished in 6th place. It sucked in my keeper league. But I will technically have the rights to Gronkowski next year if I want to keep him. I have a bunch of good keepers, so I don't know how it'll. Yeah, I had Chris Godwin too, so and Brady. So it's I've got Godwin, Gronk, and Brady.
Oof.
I've got some other guys too, like Devontae Adams and Austin Eckler, it sounds like he's moving into the starting spot, right?
Right for the Chargers. Yeah,
he was amazing last year before he took a secondary role. How do you cut him?
Yeah. Good point.
Gronk won't put up the best numbers.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're going to run that 2 tight end offense that they ran with the Patriots with Hernandez and Gronkowski, of course, before all the unfortunate things that happened with Hernandez. But
Howard, yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, because it seems like with O.J. Howard, that's what they've got set up here. Because, I mean, Arian said, I'm going to let Tom bring his offense down here. So, in essence, Tom is almost like the offensive coordinator of the team. Some Aaron Rodgers can't even get
around Tom. That's why you made the deal with him in the first place. So you got to make sure he's comfortable. He's limited. The guy's he's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So you got to design plays that he can work with. He's not a running quarterback, obviously.
Right.
So they had to strengthen that line. They did that in the draft, right? They got him that left tackle who's going to be protecting him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to bring Gronk out as a special weapon, because he may need some time to get into playing shape. I don't know what the deal is with camp and all that stuff, or what the season's actually going to look like. They're proceeding now as if it's going to start on time, right?
Right. Yeah. That's what they're saying, because they released a 16-game schedule, which, once again, this could be like the studio saying, we're going to drop that movie in July. Don't you worry about it. It feels very reminiscent.
It feels like the police being we caught, it was a lone shooter and we caught the shooter and there's no one else to worry about. It really does seem like that.
Yeah, I agree. I thoroughly agree. That's what's crazy about it. 100%. Well, I mean, I look at do you think they should, I mean, look at the basketball situation. Like, you're a Celtics fan. Do you think they should come back at all? I mean, the facilities for some of these teams where the governors have said they're going to reopen a little bit earlier than other states, they're starting to head back to these facilities in Cleveland. I think Houston as well. They're opening the doors here. LA hasn't. Do you think this is? Do you think the NBA season will resume? Do you think it'll start at the playoffs? Like, what's your feeling about this at this point?
I think that with the NBA, like the NFL's so many players, right? There's like at least 50 people on each side, plus you have like 18 zillion coaches and everything.
Yeah.
You
Training
restrict
staff.
it to a coach, an assistant coach, a trainer, and the 12 guys on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
There's 15 people per team, and they're separated, obviously, like always. I think potentially you could get away with having NBA games without fans, and I don't even know why fans would want to go to a regular season NBA game and risk it. Like I could see it risking it for the playoffs maybe, or Game 7,
right.
But just an average one of the 82 games, like who cares? I'd catch that at home. As far as the players though, again, same thing with movie stars, even to a greater degree. These guys are millionaires.
Yep.
And they're in the prime of their lives, and like I just don't know why they would risk their health when they don't ever need to work again.
Yeah. Have you been liking these reunion TV shows that have been happening, like Community and Parks and Recreation? Like, or does this feel like, oh, they're just kind of like, taking advantage of the situation, but it's not that big of a deal?
I mean, the Parks and Rec thing was for charity. I think that's the distinguishing element here, is that if it's all for the name of charity, sure. I mean, even if it wasn't, I guess people want to just feel good, and that nostalgia makes them feel warm and fuzzy. And so, yeah, like I'm all for the reunions and stuff. I watched the Parks and Rec one. It was good to see everybody. I don't really care about Community. I didn't watch that show.
Okay.
Do I want to see everyone, do I need to walk down that memory lane or listen to the YOUR podcast or listen to the Sopranos podcast? And like, all these stars are just sitting around rehashing the glory days on their podcast now. No, I don't really need to be a part of that.
You mean like Jenna Fisher with that Office podcast? Yeah, it's weird to me to host a podcast about your own show when you were one of the leads of the show. That's just very weird to me.
I mean, people got to do what they got to do for money. Like they're known, Jenna Fisher in particular is known as the Office, Pam from the Office. Like, is she always going to be Pam from the Office?
Yeah.
So, you got to lean into that, I guess, particularly during these tough times.
Yeah. Swinging back to sports with this situation here with the NBA and the NFL and everything that's happening, what do you anticipate will be the reaction? Will fans end up being the thing that tips this over? Because, I mean, there have been the NBA PAs voted today, and they're not going to release, I think, the numbers until tomorrow or the next day. Do you think the fans will be the one that forces these owners to open the doors back up again? Do you think it's going to be the money that forces them to open back up again and take chances?
Yeah, it's all about money. I mean, I wonder how many season ticket holders went to the teams and said, I would like a refund.
Yeah, good point.
How many season ticket holders are sticking with the team? Again, these are rich people, and so if you have your beautiful trophy wife being like, honey, I don't want you to have season tickets. I don't want you to go to the Staples Center 41 times a year.
Right.
You may have to listen. I don't know.
Are there, when you look at this whole landscape, that's the thing that I wonder about when you look at, like, where are the lessons going to come from this? What do you think? What do you see Hollywood looking like after this, Jeff? Have you thought about this for a little bit? Have you kind of sat around with it a little bit? I don't mean the medium size or the which we talked about already, but the vibe, the general vibe. You talked about reduced budgets, but what else? Do you think we'll stop taking ourselves so seriously out here in LA and the movies we're creating? Or do you think because people are so desperate to have it come back, there'll be an even greater sense of self-importance about the medium?
I think Hollywood always takes itself a little bit too seriously. That said, I think that it's going to be a wonderful time for creativity. I think that this is going to force people to sort of think outside the box, and that you'll be able to tell stories differently. Like just people are being accustomed, like, we're being trained to accept shows with lower production values, and it's not stopping us from watching. And so I think that people may, there may be some kind of backlash against visual effects. Like, were we relying on those too much to tell stories? I just think there's going to be like more human element. Smaller crews mean more intimate crews. So I think it'll maybe help for the town's overall camaraderie. We've all seen the inside of each other's homes now,
Very true.
And our bathrooms, and I think that will ultimately be good for the community.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Adam Jimenez sitting in the super chat said, wishing all of you all the best. Would like to know what do you think of the SNL at home episodes? Rocha, do you like the taste of Jeff? LOL. Yeah, my phrasing wasn't so good there. But yeah, have you been watching these SNL at home shows?
I have. I really like them, even though I think the second one was probably the best.
Yeah,
there's been 3 now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the first one was a little rocky, but it was interesting, and you had to commend them for the spirit with which they said the show must go on.
Right.
In the second episode, they fine-tuned it a little, and then this latest episode, it wasn't the best.
Right.
I felt like maybe they burned out their best ideas. It's tough because you're limited. You don't have the same sets or the number of characters, and you're asking your mom or your girlfriend to shoot, the sketch. So it's a different kind of challenge. But I really respect the fact that everybody showed up and did their best.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the thing at the end of the day is like they're trying to entertain. That's their job. They're trying to do their best to keep your attention, to get into it. Yeah, I didn't think the Kristen Wiig episode was as strong as the episode from last week. I mean, that What's Up With That worked so well. I mean, it worked so well as a stay-at-home thing, and there needs to be more of those kinds of. I'm surprised because they're all sketch writers. They should be able to write sketches from the house to create funny stuff, but maybe not having the full arsenal of props and actors and what have you. You're very limited. I thought Pete Davidson did a great job with that song with Adam Sandler. I thought that was really funny to see that go down. What's your feeling on Jerry Stiller, man? Is that a segue we can make? Do you remember? Did you grow up with Seinfeld? Is that a guy you just totally thoroughly enjoyed? Did you ever get a chance to interview him?
I don't think I ever got the chance to interview Jerry Stiller. Before I came on here, though, I was watching the New York Friars Club roast of Jerry Stiller.
Where's that, on YouTube?
It is on YouTube. Someone I'd seen it on Twitter, and so I was like halfway through that. I just saw Susie Essman roast him, and Ben Stiller obviously took a turn. Jason Alexander is the host. Kevin James went. I really like Jerry Stiller. I watch Seinfeld every day, I would say. Still, I watch Seinfeld almost every single day, and I watch it late at night before I go to bed, sort of like comfort food.
Right.
And yeah, his episodes always crack me up. I know he's only in like 25 or 30 episodes, but I see myself in the Costanza family.
You are absolutely in the Costanza family. There's no way you're not. My girlfriend does it all the time to me. She loves Seinfeld as well. She's always like, "You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me?" All the time whenever we're getting busting each other's balls. I got to watch that Friars roast. That sounds like a lot of fun. Overall. Yeah, I mean, Jerry Stiller is one of the best. It was a shame. But 92, dude. 92 is a good. Like, right? I mean, you're good at 92, don't you think?
He lived a great life. He had an amazing romance with Ann Mira. They're now reunited because she died a few years ago. Yeah. There's no real tears to be shed here. Like, he's a comedy legend and will always be remembered. He's part of the greatest TV show probably of all time. I agree. All right, we're almost at 150 likes. Send those likes in. We got to wrap this up here in about 7 minutes with Jeff. Wiley Todd, who is one of my associate producers here on the show, he wants to ask a question of you, Jeff. I'm going to bring him in now. Wiley, what's your question for the man, Jeff Sneider, my man?
So I wanted to ask you guys about a new movie I saw for the first time. It's like,
is it a new movie or is it a movie you've seen for the first time?
Sorry. It's a new movie I saw for the first time.
Okay.
I was recommended by a friend, and it blew my mind where after I watched it for the first time, I was like, I need to hit play and watch it again. And that was in Lost in Translation.
So it's not a new movie.
But yeah, I said it wasn't a new movie. I said it's a movie I watched.
Okay.
But
it's new to him.
Yeah,
exactly. But I wanted to talk to you guys because I'm a massive music fan in movies, and I honestly I don't know if you guys seen the movie, but if you have, the music is like the most important thing in that movie, because if you really look at it, right, everything that's important deals with music. So they meet because of the bar with the music playing, right? And the reason that they almost like they don't really get together at the end is because of music, because Bill Murray slept with the singer. Right. So like what's your guys' thought on that, and like what's your general thoughts on the movie, because it's mind-blowing good to me.
Okay. Jeff, thoughts?
I feel like it's just a crazy coincidence that that's the movie that we're talking about, because I got into it today with Sophia's publicist.
Oh wow.
You know, and I do have a mixed opinion of Sofia Coppola's track record. I remember I don't even know if I've seen it a second time. I know I've seen it once. I remember liking it, but being like underwhelmed. Like I didn't get what the fuss was about. I don't know what she whispered to him. It wasn't this epic movie. Because did she win the Oscar, or was she just nominated for the Oscar?
I think she was writing. She won for writing.
Yeah, she won for writing.
She won.
Right.
Yeah, that was a screenplay where I was like, really? Like this is winning Best Original Screenplay? So I'm mixed on the movie. I respect it more than I really like it. It's not one I go back to. I prefer The Virgin Suicides, and in general, her work leaves me a little cold.
Yeah, I liked the movie. I thought it was good. It was nice to see Bill Murray do yet another kind of pseudo dramatic role. Because I mean, he still got in his little comedic shots in that were funny, but I thought what was inventive about the film was the fact that it was like she was making fun of her own ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband at the time, Spike Jonze, through the Giovanni Ribisi character. And as if that wasn't enough, she had Anna Faris essentially playing Cameron Diaz. So, I mean, the fact that she was willing to skewer these people was surprising to me, because it shows you in Hollywood sometimes you have a short-term memory. She was destroyed for her work in Godfather Part 3 as an actress. So for her to be making fun of other people, I thought was a little like kind of strange. But overall, I did like the movie. But I agree with Jeff. It's not something I run back to and watch over and over again. I think a film that gets overlooked from her is Somewhere. I think Somewhere is just a fantastic film for me. I enjoy that film. I think Stephen Dorff is great in the film. I think Elle Fanning is great in the film, because one of these films you just lay back and enjoy. Nothing's big is going to happen. You're just following along this father and daughter on this journey for the time you have in the movie, and then the movie's over. It's almost like a mini Terrence Malick film, which is why I enjoyed it as much as I did.
And that's the thing. She's great with like this mood. Her movies have like mood, but you have to be in the mood for that mood. Yeah. And that's not for me. It reminds me of like The Eternal Sunshine, which is like, yeah, it's a decent movie, but it's not for me.
You're an insane person. That's top 10 ever made. Ever made.
Okay, come
top
on.
10. Top 10 ever
That
made.
and Lost in Translation are part of the same, like, little overrated.
No, Lost in Translation, I get it why you don't like it, because it's a depressing movie, right? But like, there's a lot there, and like as I grow up, I want to watch it like and actually see what's actually there, because that's one of those movies that it just like blew me away. Like I was about to watch another movie, and then I accidentally clicked, because iTunes has this like thing where you click on the thing and it'll play another movie. So I was like, so that popped up, so I was thinking it was the movie, and then I saw the beginning of the movie. I was like, I think I might watch this again. I was like, no, I need to watch this other movie. I've never had that happen to me though. Like it was
no joke though. Like before this week when we cleaned up the apartment, there was one movie on our mantle, and it was Lost in Translation, because I have been meaning to give it a rewatch, because I may have just missed it.
Please do. It's really good, and like it surprised the hell out of me.
All right. Well, there you go, Wiley. Thanks so much. Let me wrap up the show. Good talking to you. I'll bring you back on in just a little bit. Good question from Wiley. I think Eternal Sunshine and Punch Drunk Love are in the same boat. I do not put Lost in Translation in that boat at all.
Those are none of the movies are favorites of mine. All those.
Yeah, so you don't like contemplative things. I know.
I like Malick. Yeah.
Yeah, you're an insane person. Anyway, before the lights go out on you, Jeff Sneider, we hit the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Outlaw Nation Show, bro. It went by quickly. You are one of my favorite people on the planet, man. And thanks so much for everything you do and have done and keep doing for me, man. I cherish your friendship very much, and I appreciate you taking 2 hours. What's that?
Likewise, John. You're a good man and a good host.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Where can they find you and everything you're doing, brother?
At the InSneider, Twitter, Instagram, and Cameo. Buy a Cameo. I'm just a delight. I'm really just a blast.
Yes, he is. And what's the podcast you do over there at Collider again? Plug it here.
Snyder Cut on Fridays over at Collider. Make sure to tune in, and it is completely unfiltered.
Wow, what are you going to do when it comes back? When it actually shows up on HBO Max? What are you going to do when the Snyder Cut actually shows up on HBO Max?
Snyder Cut does not exist. I don't have to worry about sharing the title with anybody.
All right. If you say so, I think we will see it. All right, Jeff, thanks so much for joining me, brother. I'm going to stay on for about half an hour, but you go get some rest. Give my best to Stephanie. See you, brother. Take care. All right. That was Jeff Sneider, one of my favorite dudes walking the planet. I've taken some shit for being his friend over the years, but I never regret it. And I never, I never doubt that man. He's always been good to me. We've always had great times, and he's easily a big pussycat if you know how to deal with Jeff Sneider. It's all bluster and fun, and he calms down. We go have a beer. He's the best. So I tried to get Smets to come on here. I texted him the link about an hour, and he said, haha, I can't. I just got into Seattle to see my girlfriend. I'm moving her down this week. We are on a walk, but send him my regards. So I was trying to have a Kevin Smets, Jeff Sneider confrontation here, maybe hash out this situation, but Smets was not able to call in, unfortunately. So there we go. All right, Wyatt, let's bring you back in. What do you think? Good show? Fun show?
Yes, it was very good.
Turn that shit off. What's wrong? You're going to get us strikes. All right. Until you turn that music off, Wiley, I can't bring you in. It's going to get us strikes. All right. There we go. All right.
Sorry about that.
All right. There you go. Talk to me. Did you enjoy the show?
Yeah, it was really good. Again, I felt like it was a good mix of like last week's episode with Mance, not Mance.
Danny.
Yeah, Danny, where it was like personal stuff with movie stuff. So it worked perfectly. I felt like it was another great addition to the Outlaw Nation.
I agree. If you guys want to keep asking questions or sending in Streamlabs for the next half an hour, kind of a post interview part of the Outlaw Nation show, feel free to do so. This was great. I mean, I love Jeff to pieces, and we definitely had some great conversations about life, about career, about what to do in the business. And the thing about, and I didn't get a chance to ask about this, the thing you guys should know about Jeff is willing to help other people who come into the business and want to move up. Jeff is always there. If you approach him in the right direction, or the right way, rather, Jeff will absolutely guide you. I saw him talk to a couple of these websites that people complain about. Their people reached out to Jeff and were like, what can we do to get in contact with this? What can we do? And Jeff's always been willing to help. He shares his contacts. He will guide you if you have any questions about how to source something, or triple source or double source something. Jeff is always great about helping people advance in this business, and it's because the other people helped him out when he first came into the business, but not everyone listens. And I've seen people fall flat on their face who don't listen to Jeff when they're starting to get into the scoops business, and they become a laughing stock. Some of the sites were mentioned in the chat, and I've seen that happen many, many times. And I think that's one of the big things about Jeff is that he's a giver. For all his bluster and all his stuff, he's a giver. He actually cares about the future of cinema, the future of this business. And he knows there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And yeah, you'll break some stories as a flash in the pan, but eventually once the town knows about you, it's over. But if you source it, triple source it, you make sure you got the things right. Even if you go to press before you get the approval from those studios or the confirmation, you're still covering all your bases and taking a chance from a stronger position than if you were doing something, where you were just trying to beat people to the punch. So it's great. It's interesting stuff for sure from him. And I want to make sure people understand that he is incredible overall. All right. Are you a Schmoedown? You're not a big Schmoedown fan, are you, Wiley?
No, I am a producer of the Let's Get Ready podcast, but yeah, I'm a decent fan. But like I said, I'm a main fan of you, the Schmoedown. So
thank you, man. Thank you. Where was Suge tonight? Where was Suge tonight? Couldn't be on tonight?
Oh no, we're dealing with some drama between.
You guys! I swear to God, you guys, it's nuts. Sean, you want in on this? You want in on this? All right, I'm gonna pull the banner.
Not on any drama that they're having now.
Right. Yeah, I know you don't. What do you think of the show, man? Did you enjoy that show?
I love Jeff. He's really he's an East Coast guy. So I mean, once you understand that, he's easy to deal with and understand. I wish he was from New York, not Boston, but other than that, he's great.
Yeah, you're in New York now, right?
No, I'm in LA.
That's right. You're in LA. I always forget about that. Right. I always forget Sean's in LA. He strikes me like a New York guy. Sorry, I apologize.
Well, I'm from New York, John. So that's
there
why
you go.
get that.
So I wasn't wrong. Someone said this. Why do people give you shit for being friends with Jeff? Well, Jeff's had, which I didn't want to touch on in the show. Jeff's had some run-ins on Twitter with people who have tried to cancel Jeff on numerous occasions. I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying at my former employer, Jeff has had conversations with people in charge about some of his tweets and the controversial nature of his tweets, because it just runs counter to what they want to do, which is to be friends with the studios and friends with all the actors and directors. And Jeff's not necessarily in that camp. And so he's going to let you know his honest truth. And at times it has been an issue, but he keeps surviving the near misses or the near strikes. So, I mean, God love him. For whatever reason, people do enjoy Jeff and the work he does because he's thorough. He's good at what he does. That's for damn sure.
His work's important.
Yeah, I think it's important too. He's dropping some real knowledge out on the world. All right. Anything else that you guys want to discuss? I don't see a lot of chats going on. I don't see a lot of questions or anything going down.
Do you have your next guest for Outlaw Nation yet?
I was just about to ask that.
If it works out, I think I'm going to get Christian Harloff. But
oh wow!
We shall see.
Wow.
For once, turn the tables on him.
Nice.
and quiz him and ask. So we'll see if he is on board. If not, I'm reaching out to the Real Rejects tomorrow as well to get John and Greg on here and have a little fun with those guys as well. And down the road, down the road, I want to. I just said Danny. I want to get. I might be getting. I want to get some more women on the show as well, female guests, people of color. I want to have more diverse conversations. So I'm trying to get more and more people to come on the show. The truth is I might be able to get, like actors or whatever, but it might only be for like an hour or half an hour. I was supposed to have Brian Cox tomorrow for 30 minutes. And I just got the email during the show that apparently he's cut his entire interview time on the phone to 45 minutes. So I'm only going to get 15 with him. And 2 other people are going to get 15 as well. So unfortunately, I lost the half an hour I was going to get with Brian Cox. So here's a lesson to you, ladies and gentlemen. Never announce anything until it actually happens, because you never know how things are going to change in that way.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you can't. Here we go. Adam Jimenez says you should get Jeff on the Cinephiles. Yes, I agree. What is MX? Is that Mexican money? What is that, MX?
You want me to look it up for you?
Yeah, look it up.
I have no idea.
MX $20. Was it like 30 cents? What is MX $20? I want to know.
You know how much it is or what currency is?
Yeah. Well, how much does it transfer over to American money? That's what I want to know. So. Give me American money, Wiley.
Hey, Wiley, I thought you were gonna bring up the color of money again, where Jeff ripped into you. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it too.
I was waiting for it.
Okay, so that's 83 cents.
I don't just see 83 cents. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. 83 cents. Thank you.
Wait, what currency?
It's pesos.
Yeah, $20 in pesos is 83 cents in American money.
Well, that's what it says on here.
Wow.
Wait, maybe put the 2 zeros. Yeah, 83 cents. Yeah.
Let's see here. It's hard for. Oh, it says. Is it hard for people to get along with people who are from the East Coast? Yes, Preston. People get real. Yes. People in LA are not. They don't dig on the East Coast people that strongly, because people are like, "What are you yelling about, man? It's so cool. Be chill, dog." But like East Coast people, man, when we find another East Coast person, we hold on to them like they're a lifesaver in the ocean.
Yeah.
No lie, because like it's like, oh my God, I can be myself with you. You know how to take it. You don't get sensitive about it. So.
So true,
right?
John.
Right?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. It's almost like I always find it funny when LA people ask for the truth and you give it to them. They're like, "Well, I didn't really want the truth."
Right?
Like, well, you wanted me to lie to you? Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah. Cater to me. That's what I want. It's so true. Let's see. Fantastic 314 says, "Hey Jay Rocha, what do you think is the most overlooked movie for the past 10 years?" Ooh, mine is the Baytown Outlaws. I didn't even heard of the Baytown Outlaws.
Well, it's
a total blast. Okay. What do you guys think?
Easy question for me.
Okay. Go
what
ahead.
is it?
Chef with Jon Favreau. That movie is in my top 10 of all time.
Good movie.
It's a happy movie. We don't get many happy movies. It has a great cast, and I even made a video on it of how they shot that cooking scenes is beautiful. It's amazing. Yeah. They even have the show on Netflix on it, and it's like every time I get to praise that movie, it will. It was in my top 10 of the decade. I love this movie. And guys, I know it's like hard out there right now. If you guys want an easy movie to watch that you'll be like, this is just a fun movie, definitely check out Chef. That is easily my answer.
Okay. What about you? Do you have one shot?
I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, the only one I think of really quick that's really underappreciated is Ant-Man. I love
Ant-Man. You think it's unappreciated? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Because I think their word I remember going to see it, taking an Uber to the AMC 16 in Burbank, and the guy was like, "Well, what are you watching?" I was like, "I was gonna watch Ant-Man." He's like, "Ant-Man, what's that?" And I was like, "Oh boy," and I just got a lot of that. But Ant-Man is one of the better MCU movies. Even the Ant-Man and the Wasp is one of the better sequels, in my opinion. I think they're both underrated. Okay, that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
All right, I saw a couple of suggestions here. I mean, I pretty much would put all the Malick films, but no one's going to go with me on that one. People hate the Malick movies, and I respect that. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I love the Malick movies.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, very much so. You have to be able to acquire it. That's another thing I'll throw in. You have to be. I think Logan Lucky, right? No one talks about Logan Lucky. That was a damn good movie. Soderbergh, Adam Driver, Riley Keough, Daniel Craig, right, and Channing Tatum. Yes. That movie was damn good.
It's so good.
Right? Another one is Rush, the Ron Howard racing car
Love that movie.
Right?
Love that movie.
Daniel Bruhl and Hemsworth, they are fantastic in that movie. Nobody talks about that movie at all.
You think that's his best performance outside of the MCU?
Yes, but I will say this. Extraction is the most interesting performance he's delivered outside of the MCU. If you guys haven't seen that on Netflix, I'm thinking of recording a review for it because I love that movie. I really enjoyed the shit out of that movie. And I thought he was great in that movie in a way I haven't seen him be great before. And he was tough and suicidal and badass. And it's a genre we've seen before, right? The kind of like the hitman or the mercenary who's just like trying to get killed on the mission, but ends up like wanting to save the young child, kind of like Man on Fire. And I was really surprised at how good the movie was and the fight scenes. Good God Almighty, the fight scenes were incredible.
I thought The Accountant was really good, and it's not appreciated very well.
Yeah, I love that movie.
You know, The Accountant was the top-rated film downloaded last year. I think it's one of the top-rated films downloaded over last year, and that's why that's why it's getting a sequel, because a lot of people either purchased it or downloaded it to watch at higher numbers than almost any other movie. And so that's how they greenlit the sequel with Gavin O'Connor and Affleck, I think, returning for sure. Some people are throwing in, Overlord. Overlord is absolutely overlooked. There's like 20 people who talk about Overlord, but Overlord was fucking incredible. Did you see this, Sean?
Remind me who's in it?
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
Well, there's not really anyone to name in it.
Yeah, not really anybody of name, but it's about these soldiers who land in Nazi Germany to help this French town, and they stumble upon this. The Nazis are doing zombie experiments.
I heard of it. I didn't see it.
Okay.
So good. It is so good.
Brightburn was really good too.
Okay.
You didn't see that?
I did.
He disagrees. Sean.
Yeah, it wasn't my jam.
Actually, we got
you can disagree
on from Andrew Hale that says Sing Street, and that is also one of my favorite movies of all time. But it gets talked about a lot. But again, Andrew Hale, Drive It Like You Stole It. You got it. I love Sing Street.
That's a great song. I thought that song was going to be the song of the summer when that movie came out, because it is such a catchy, poppy song that is retro 80s, and it's got a pulsating beat. That song immediately went on my cardio workout mix immediately, because I was like, I know this beat. This is an 80s beat. This is what I used to run or work out to. And so perfect. I was thinking about that. Maybe my Twitch show is like introducing people to some like old school music. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, please.
People don't know Suzanne from Journey. People don't know some songs.
Their bands, yeah. Like even going into old soundtracks, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like Pretty in Pink has like 4 great songs that never came out as hits. They're great stuff.
I learned this the other day. I was preparing for a Back to the Future interview with Brad Gilmore, but he postponed. But I was going through the soundtrack again because I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah,
Eric Clapton has a song on there.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's amazing. And you can't find it as a single. You can only find it off there. You can't even find it on his greatest hits. I was like,
yeah,
that's amazing. Like it.
I don't disagree. Soulshire 1999 says top 2 movies of the millennium.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Not one.
Okay.
I would say Social Network.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's number
Yeah.
1.
I agree with that.
Then, honestly, this might sound awful, but I'm going to say 1917. That movie's mind-blowing.
It's not a bad choice.
It's not a bad choice. It's a current choice, but it's not a bad choice.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Sean?
I mean, I'm gonna sound like a comic book guy. I might say The Dark Knight, only just because how important it is to the rest of the comic book movies going forward. So I might say The Dark Knight, but I could be convinced otherwise. But I definitely agree. Social Network is in there, only also because of its that's another good soundtrack to The Social Network.
Yes, I agree. I would so put the Social Network in there. Absolutely, it's number 1. I think of the millennium. There's some great suggestions that I'm looking at now, like $1 Million Baby or The Pianist, Darkest Hour. I would say Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes, that's another good one.
I think that revitalized Scorsese.
Yes.
I think you get an incredible performance from DiCaprio and from Jonah Hill, and it introduces Margot Robbie into the film world. And it's a 3-hour movie, all this controversy, and that scene where they take the Quaaludes, holy shit, that is one of the most incredible scenes I've ever seen. And then, as if to top it, they have the scene in the boat when they're in the ocean and the hurricane and the tsunami is happening, and they're all losing their freaking minds. Oh, There Will Be Blood is another one that could be up there as well. Certainly a classic. Let's see. People said Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road is a possibility, I think.
I don't love it that much. I like it, but I don't love it that much.
I think Overlooked, What We Do in the Shadows is a good one about an overlooked movie. Like a lot of people. That TV series is fucking great.
I need to watch it because I love the movie.
You'll tear through the first season. You can rip through the first season in like, maybe in 4 hours, 3-4 hours. You can rip through the first season. Huh?
Is it a 30-minute show or like 25?
Yeah, 30 minutes. It's like 25 minutes because of the commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like 22, 25 minutes each episode. It's incredible.
Sweet.
And that's the thing that sucks is I binged the first season, so now I have to wait for every episode to come out for the second season. Barry is another great series as well. People need to be, if you haven't watched Barry, you got to watch Barry.
I agree with Sneider on Dave. Dave, I laughed every episode like 5 times. It's so good.
All right, I'm gonna give it a chance.
Well, what TV shows of the millennium do you guys think? The top
True
2?
Detective, bar none.
Which one? Can you say that though? Because you have to factor in True Detective season 2, dude.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, because you got to factor in all the seasons if you're going to talk about best TV shows of the millennium, right?
Okay, Breaking Bad would be one. That's one of my favorites. And then,
Isn't
honestly,
The Wire.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Wire. It's one I need to see.
Oh my god.
And Sopranos. Don't give me hard times, but I'm.
Well, The Sopranos started before 2000, so.
Oh, you're right. That's right. In
I started like I'm on episode 4, but it's like, and I hear that I need to get through past season 1. I like season 1, but it's hard for me to like. There's nothing really hooking me to the next episode, you know?
Right.
It will start to. Don't worry.
Game of Thrones. Would you say, or do you have to factor in that 8th season that kind of cuts it up a little bit?
I don't think there's a bunch of rewatchability for me as a entire whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I rewatched it twice.
Wow.
Like I don't like the way the show ended. I didn't have a problem with.
Yeah.
The way the last season went about it was my only problem.
Okay.
But I still love the show. Like I hate people that was like, "Oh, I hate the show now because of the way the last." Like, dude, before that last season, everybody was like gushing, and you can't fault a show for 8 episodes that you don't like.
It's true. It's true.
So.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are mentioning Lost. Lost before that last season, I think was incredible. I didn't mind the last season. I know people were last season.
I only think the first 3 or 4 seasons are great. Other than that, then they lost their way. They didn't know where they were doing. So
okay, fair enough.
Like the same thing with Dexter.
Dexter.
I love the first 4 seasons of Dexter, and then after that,
what about The Office? Or I would put Parks and Rec in the top 5.
Never saw it.
I agree with Michael Coleman though. He said Sons of Anarchy. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, you like that show?
That first season's really rough, but I love the series. Like that theme song, "Riding Through This World," is so great.
What about Mandalorian?
Love Mandalorian.
I just bought a print for the I'm going to put in the office right here for the Mandalorian. It's a pretty penny. It was not cheap.
Hey, man.
It's a designed print. Wasn't cheap, let me tell you. I went and got it. I got to get it framed. What?
When's the Star Wars show dropping?
I know, right? When is the Star Wars show
That's
dropping?
a good question.
That's a great question.
We're waiting for it. We're clamoring here. Come on, Rocha, give it to us.
What is the meaning of is? Yeah, it's a good question. It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Oh, yeah, this is a good one, too. Reginald Taylor, the League. No one talks about the League. The League was appointment TV watching for me every night that it came on. This thing was it's all fantasy football league amongst these terrible, terrible people. What's his face? Damn it. What's his face? Both him and his brother, Duplass. Yeah, Duplass and his wife, Katie Aselton. They were two of the main people, and then all these other characters, of course, that were involved in it. Nick Kroll, I think his name is, and and so a bunch of people were involved, and it is funny from beginning to end. If you're a sports person, if you've ever played fantasy football, or if you have just idiot friends, this show is the show for you. It's so funny from top to bottom.
I could never get into fantasy football. I'm a Giants fan. I don't want to pick Cowboys or Redskins or Eagles. I can't do that.
You'll let that go. You'll let that go.
No, no.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing's wrong with me.
Going to Atlanta, Jeremy from Oklahoma, Oklahoman. He said Atlanta. I think Atlanta's great. It's like I feel like you need one of those serious shows where you can watch as a full and then you can watch it episodically. I think that's what the two choices really need to be, because you're going to need two different types, you know?
Yeah.
If we're really talking like you can like do to everyone. So I feel like personally, I'm more of a fan of Dave after seeing Dave now than Atlanta, but Atlanta's a really good choice. I really like Atlanta.
We had a Streamlabs come through near the tail end before, unfortunately it was jumped before Jeff left. Ryan Chandler said, here's some ducats. Oh no, it's already came through. I'm sorry. Ryan Chandler donated again. He said, what's you guys, this was 13 minutes ago. Okay. So this came while he wants to know our opinion. What's you guys' opinion on live matches versus matches in the digital realm? Will we have intros with music, pre-show content? What do you think? Well, for someone who's been doing a couple of these already, the exhibition matches, essentially you don't have too much, there's no promos and there's no music intro. Sorry, Christian or Mark introduces you. You get the standard stuff. You get to say something, and then you get into the match. So I don't know if they'll up the production value once for the tournaments, for the Intergeekdom and Star Wars tournament, if they'll let you play music, if they'll let you say all this kind of stuff. I don't know. So that will be, I'm sure, decided as it goes along in that way. So, but to me, I like the virtual matches for what they are, but yes, I prefer the live matches. I prefer to look an opponent in the eye, sense their energy, and that like when I play, that's kind of always what I'm doing, is trying to feel the vibe of the competitor or the vibe of the room. That adds to my gameplay. So you may think that's weird, but it's totally how I play. So some people could care less either way, but that's how I play.
That's not weird at all. I mean, but I think, unfortunately, I think this is going to be the way I think the rest of the season is going to have to play out. If you're looking online and it's saying that our stay-at-home, and especially in Los Angeles, John, is going to be for another 3 months. Yeah. I mean, that might just, I mean, we might be, the virtual matches might be the only thing we might have for a while. Yeah. So, I mean, it is a little weird. I mean, because like I can agree with you, the vibe is a little bit different. It's just like watching wrestling with no audience. It's weird. It's terrible. I would never, I can't do it. I would never do it. It just can't do it. I mean, the rest of the sports is fine, but certain things you just need an audience. And I kind of agree with you. Look someone eye to eye, but I think it's going to be what it is. And I know kind of Christian kind of doesn't want to do that, but I think he's not going to have a choice. And also kind of saddens me that the Collision is probably going to have to get canceled because no live events either. So I was looking forward to the free for all. and then that got canceled, and I was looking forward to Collision, and now that's probably gonna get canceled too. So
it just means I get to keep the belt even longer. That's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Personally, I found myself recently like skipping through all the like crud, I would like to say, like the beginning of it.
Before the matches. Yeah.
Exactly, because like I said, there is no one, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass here, Rocha, but I'm like, honestly, every segment that you're in, so the actual thing, right, and then the post interview and everything, you actually feel everything you're saying. And all these other people, they're like, yeah, I'm excited to play this match. I'm gonna beat him. It doesn't seem real. It seems fake. So getting rid of most of that stuff and doing it virtually, I like better as a fan of that stuff. Just kind of see the gameplay, because like I don't want to see all these people that are doing it, that are like doing these promos online. I honestly don't care. I went to the Houston event and that was amazing. That was amazing. And
it was.
That's the only thing I think I'll miss. But like again, Rocha, you bring so much to the table, so like live things are more important there. Like the blind thing, I was thinking that the other day. I was like, man, that's an amazing moment when you brought it back for that time. You're like, hey, old friend, how you doing? And then you put it. See, that's something you reason
that was good.
Studio.
Yeah,
like, all these other people are just, I'm here to play. You know, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable as a casual fan, because I used to be this hardcore fan, but it's not the same league where everyone's super passionate like you, Rocha. It's kind of like there's a 50-50.
Well, I don't know if I'd agree. I think if there's anyone who's not as super passionate, they're from the older generation, like the older players. And I don't mean older in terms of age. I mean, they've been in the Schmoedown longer. The younger players come in with passion. The younger players know they got to prove it. Now, do they have the acting skills to do promos, to do these scenes? That's a whole nother ballgame. Do they, like Smets is super intense. Smets came in with that character, and he was that. You know, Oyama came in with his character, and he was that. But, you know, Parker is Parker. Parker is going to try to do a character, but he's maybe not 100% successful at it. But I think everybody coming in now is certainly passionate about the league, but there is validity in your point. They may not be as able to bring their full energy to these roles or to these parts in their promos, in their pregame stuff, during the matches themselves and afterwards. So that's certainly an element that you either have or you don't. It can be trained. If you have just a little bit of it, you can bring more of it out. Look at Dan Murrell. Dan Murrell couldn't cut a promo to save his life 3 years ago. Now he's one of the best out there because he realized who he is, and he just had to speak from the hip and be honest about his passion and intensity for the game. So once more people embrace that, I think we'll see a change. And at that point, I can fucking retire. And at that point, I've done my job.
No, you could be a manager at that point.
Yeah, probably. But I might take a year off. Who knows? Wouldn't it be nice if I took a year off? No one hears from me. I'm doing my channel, doing my shows, and then I show up at the free-for-all as number 35. That would be great.
That would be actually pretty cool, but I don't want to see you go away for a year. I agree with Wally. A lot of the problem with the Schmoedown is a lot of people don't actually have a character. I don't know what people's characters are. It's hard to really know, are you being a face or a heel, or are you just being sarcastic?
Right.
It's really, really weird. Like Jeff Sneider, he doesn't have a character. I like him, but Jeff
is his character. It's Jeff Sneider. You're just getting Jeff Sneider, and the best characters are just extensions of who you naturally are as a person. So Jeff Sneider is certainly that.
Honestly, I think the person next to you, like right, of character of enjoyment is Bateman, because
Bateman, yeah.
Because you see him backstage, you see him really care about this, and even watching his own stuff, like he is this emotional person. So once you see this happen, that's enjoyable. It's not like Bibiani gets it and he's like, "Yay, I got it. What's the next thing?" And it's like, you're not enjoying it. What's the getting there when you're not going to even celebrate?
But that's Bibbs's way of not. How can I say this correctly? That's Bibbs's way of not feeling the weight of the loss. You know what I'm saying? So if he underplays, if he that's fine. I did my best. I studied. That's his way so that nobody will make fun of him. But what he doesn't understand is when he does that and doesn't show real emotion, I think it makes it harder for people to connect to him because Bibbs does fucking care. Bibbs does. I mean, nobody who calls Christian or texts Christian with the frequency that Bibbs does, which I'm told about from a number of people, that he texts him constant storylines, constant match ideas, constantly. He wanted to do a Nicolas Cage match inside a cage. He wanted, that's what he suggested to Christian. He wanted us to have for his belt defense where I beat him for the title. He wanted to have a round one only match. He's got so many crazy things that Bibbs does, but he likes to underplay it instead of embracing the fact, hey, you lost. Let's see some real emotion instead of you trying to dance around like a monkey to avoid showing your honest hurt or vulnerability about the loss, And so I agree with you. I think that's where the situation is a problem, to be honest with you, because too many people want to protect themselves and not be willing to put their bones out there or their heart out there. And I think that's what fans gravitate to. Look, love me or hate me. Yeah. I think the reason I had a fan base or have a fan base is because people know I'm honest. I put it all on the table one way or another, for better or worse. And yeah, it's bit me on the ass a couple times, but it's also led me to 4 titles. So,
And I also believe that Mike Kalinowski, your friend, is also that way too.
Yeah,
like he
Mike cares.
From emotional, and I like Shannon's coming in and been that, I
Yeah.
like those side of the people, and it's kind of funny because you're friends with all the people I mentioned, so you guys connection and everything. But honestly, it's that factor is why I enjoy things. Talking movies is why, because some people love it. That's why the Cinephiles is the greatest, because you guys talk deeply about those feelings, and that's what I feel like the Schmoedown needs to be more of, but we have a lack of that.
Exactly. That's right.
I need that in my room.
I know. I keep telling Steve we need to sell them, but I don't think we can sell them because we have copyrighted images in there. So that was just a gift from him to me for Christmas. One last question, and I got to go. Best animated projects of the decade.
Does that mean movie or show?
I think it's whatever you want it to be honest with you. Preston Bryan, thank you for that question.
Harley Quinn is racing up the top of that list now. That show was incredible.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the decade.
Yeah, let's see. Of the 2010s,
is he
Clone Wars?
Does he mean just a show or just a movie?
I think
it's project, so it could be anything.
Yeah,
I would say Claws as for a recent one, and Claws blew me away.
Claws was great.
Mm-hmm.
Have right? You'd have to say Spider-Verse.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
I think,
Go ahead, Sean.
No. I was agreeing with you. I can't think of anything else right now.
I mean, the Lego movie was pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, Lego Batman for me is better than the Lego movie. I think Lego Batman's cool in every way.
Okay, so, Lego Batman's fantastic.
I wonder how they're going to turn out now that they left Warner Brothers and went to Paramount. Was it Paramount they went to?
No, they went to Universal, and
they went to Universal.
They already had the license to do the Jurassic Park Lego sets, so they might do that, which would be interesting.
Okay. People like Zootopia, Inside Out. Inside Out's incredible.
Yes, it is, and the Incredibles too.
All right, if you say so.
Yeah, I don't.
You didn't like the Incredibles too?
I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was as great as I wanted it to be. But there were some great moments.
Yeah, it's not as good as the first one, but
there were some great moments.
Isle of Dogs from Wes Anderson. It's so good.
Good choice, Wiley.
Because I always pointed to it. I always reference this movie, but in the trailer, you see them going on that sky thing and they're trying to say the plan, and then you see the 2 dogs. I chew. It's so good. It fits his style a lot better than Fantastic Mr. Fox for me. And I rewatched that, and I didn't really hold up so well. Fantastic Mr. Fox. It was like I loved it, and I was like, oh, I kind of like it. Then now I'm at the point I'm like, okay, but I think Isle of Dogs is better. I honestly do, because how the dogs act and how the voice, Jeff Goldblum and everything is just amazing in that movie.
Who did let the dogs out? I agree. Preston Bryant, I got to go to bed, son. TV movie. I don't know if there's a best TV movie of the millennium.
Oh God, I don't know what that is. But Kubo and the Two Strings was also good too.
Yeah, Kubo and 2 Strings. Good call.
Yeah.
I think Boy A from Andrew Garfield. It didn't come out into this millennium, but that's the only one I can really think of. Is that one was really
Boy
good.
A.
I can't think of a good TV movie.
Best.
Usually TV movies aren't any good.
I'm going to just say miniseries because that's the only thing I really watch.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm going to say Defending Jacob is amazing out there right now. It's like my favorite show on TV right now.
Yeah, Jeff loves that show.
I got to start watching
on me big time.
Like, honestly, I was like, no, don't end. And there's been some great twists and turns. It's like, it's dark and everything. And Chris Evans, man, he's the perfect dad. He's like the perfect dad in the movie. The show, but But yeah, TV and movies is hard. I don't watch that many TV. I'm always watching new movies. And the only one I've seen was that Boy A with Andrew Garfield. But
right. Well, there you go.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
My choice is A Silent Voice. Okay.
Don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Anime film.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
If that I think that had like an original release.
6 Underground is a
no, okay. It's Netflix and it's kind of as a movie. I don't really like because that would be a whole different story.
Batman on the Road.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. That's what I recommended to Jeff.
I'll tell you a quick comic book story, Comic-Con story. Quick one, and I got to get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
The year that Batman on the Red Hood was about to come out, Comic-Con was happening there that July. My friend Michael Vogel, one of the Geek Buddies, he was an executive producer over there at Sony and Disney, or Sony rather. And he had done stuff with Warner Brothers as well, and he knew DiMaggio. John DiMaggio came to our table at 2 a.m. We were at some weird restaurant that was opening late, staying open late. We always go out big time the first night we're there at Comic-Con. So I'm drinking. John DiMaggio comes up, sits with us, and entertains us for half an hour. It was like Robin Williams' bigger, older brother. And it was incredible. And he did the Joker voice for us at the table.
Wow.
And I said to him, whatever shit because people were starting to clamor, but they were upset Mark Hamill wasn't coming back as Joker.
Yeah.
I said, these people are going to eat so much crow and eat their words because if that's the Joker voice you're doing, it is fantastic. It is a fantastic voice. And it's a voice of Joker I've never heard. The deeper bass, right? Which makes it even more chilling to hear when he's killing and doing things he's doing in Under the Red Hood. You're just like, holy shit, man. So yes, I would agree with that. I would say that the Under the Red Hood is fantastic. And I want to watch Justice League Dark already. What's the new one that came out? The Superman one? Is there a new one that came out?
Son, my favorite comic book. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Okay. Red Sun, right? Yeah.
That did come out. It's literally sitting on my desk right now. I still haven't watched it.
I need to see it too.
There you go.
But you need to tell Michael Vogel to start getting Spectacular Spider-Man back on the TV network
with Josh Keaton.
Is the
That's
best
never going to happen.
Well, he's not there anymore. Mike is a free agent producer now. He's working on his own stuff. He's he'll be
on Outlaw Nation. I want to talk to him about that show because that show is like incredible.
It was great, but the Disney deal is the reason why that show went away.
Yeah, true.
But
Very
they
true.
made all those awful Spider-Man TV shows that are not even close to it. Like,
good point.
They're bringing back Clone Wars. They bring out Spectacular Spider-Man.
It's never going to happen. Sorry.
All right, let me wrap it up there for a while. He has an aneurysm or a conniption. Thank you all. Thanks, Sean. I'm going to drop you out. Thanks, brother. We'll talk tomorrow.
One.
You too, man. All right, Wiley, I'm going to bring you back up full on.
Okay.
I'm going to drop you out. Do you want to say anything?
You can do whatever.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah.
Folks?
Guys, please subscribe to Outlaw. He's working his ass off. And also the Patreon, man. The Patreon is definitely getting up there. And there's always something new going on. So if you guys are a part of the Patreon, you're like, man, I might need to drop this. Please don't. Because we are working on stuff constantly on it. And it's always, and the Hangouts alone is why some people join and do it. And that's the highlight of their week. And also, Criterion Quarter, like, honestly, I'm about to graduate. And one of the presents I got is the Grand Budapest, like, Criterion. So, like, I want to go through it because I'm watching these stuff and I can't talk to anyone about it because no one talks about Criterion. You're getting that. If you guys want to argue that Chef is a bad movie, which no one will, you can argue that on a new debate show and how you guys will see that. But if you like every time you watch a debate show, you're like, oh, I want to get in there. You can on a certain tier. That is happening.
Yes.
You're also getting Outlaw's Thoughts or Meeting ofs or whatever. Like, that's awesome because you get that in Cinephiles, but you only get Rocha's and you get to have this in-depth. All that's coming. And I'm sure more. But those are the like 3 or 4. Oh yeah, there's another one. But there's so much stuff going on. It's not acting like we're just sitting here. Like we are actually constantly working. Sean was about on the screen too. He's helping out with everything. Like everything is happening. Believe in Rocha, like I believe in Rocha. Join the Outlaw Nation and do all that stuff because honestly, you guys don't want to miss out on all this content because it's gonna blow your mind because Rocha works the hardest, so you're gonna get the greatest work that he possibly can do, and you'll have the help of me and Sean along the way. So please join the Patreon.
Thank you, Wiley. You're the best. You're the best. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good seeing you again, man. I'll see you tomorrow on the Hangout. Yep. All right. Take care, my man.
See ya.
Wiley did a great job tonight. Just, he holds the fort down here on the Outlaw Nation show, and he's been fantastic with all of that, making sure you all get in to ask questions live, talking to everybody here. It's been incredible. The way the channel keeps growing. I'm pushing the boulder up the hill, and I love the fact that there are more hands on the boulder, like y'all's hands, helping me push it up the hill as well. Please, thank you so much again for downloading this episode. If you're listening to this episode, thank you for downloading on the podcast network. That was the last thing I should have plugged here. The Outlaw Nation podcast network is available out there for you to go and subscribe to. Would love it if we got the numbers up. We're getting about 150 downloads per episode, but I'd love to get them up to 1,000 or 2,000. So if you haven't subscribed to that, please go and subscribe to it. The Outlaw Nation Podcast Network, and all the shows that you watch here on YouTube, you get the audio of them there as well to listen to. Like if you want to listen to Jeff Sneider's, you want to re-listen to Jeff Sneider's thoughts on anything you do there, or Danny Fernandez or Dan Merle, who that one's almost at 20,000 downloads or 20,000 views rather, that episode with Dan Merle. So there's all kinds of stuff for you guys to enjoy. Mornings with the Outlaw, like I said, the Outlaw Nation show, Game Time, the wrestling show we do, Strong Style. All of that is available on the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network. So wherever you download podcasts, please go and be a part of that. And, of course, do me a massive favor and subscribe to the Outlaw Nation channel, the YouTube channel, right there down below. Hit that subscribe button. Get us to 15,000 subscribers, marching towards 20,000 subscribers. I'd certainly appreciate it. And follow me on all social media right there at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And like Wiley said, the Patreon, www.patreon.com, right there, / John Rocha. Come and be a part of that as well. Multiple tiers from $1 up to $100, multiple tiers for you to come and enjoy whatever perks I've got for you on every one of those tiers. And yes, like the gentleman referring to, Wiley and Sean here just a few minutes ago, we have 4 shows that we are building for the patrons. Every Friday, you will get a new episode of a show. So, the 4 shows, we'll have a debate show one week. We'll have the Criterion Corner the next week. We'll have Rocha Explains This, or the Outlaw Explains This the second week. We'll have the 4th week will be the movie series, and then we'll start all over again with a new episode of those titles. So that's basically what you're going to get. So you get 2 hangouts and an extra show that you can be a part of or enjoy as a patron. So trust me, I'm working hard to earn your support and earn your support of the Outlaw Nation as we build this thing up. So please take care of yourselves. Be safe. Thanks again for joining us this evening live. Please reach out to Jeff Sneider and tell him on Twitter or on Instagram how much you enjoyed him being on the show. I always love my guests to get some love from the fans. So go and tag him on Twitter as well. And of course, subscribe to him if you want to as well. Follow him on all his social media. It's very important. All right, that's it. I love you guys so much. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Wash your hands. Stay away from all these people who aren't wearing masks, who are gathering in crowded areas. Stay away from that shit. Stay alive, because I want you coming back next week to join us here on the Outlaw Nation. And remember what I say at the end of every show: whatever you got to do to get through the next second, next minute, next hour, next day, next week, next month, next year, please do it, because I'd like to see you on the other side of it. And you never know what can happen if you just hold on and fight through it. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side. It just might surprise the hell out of you. All right. Take care of yourselves. I love you. And we'll see you next time for a brand new episode of the Outlaw Nation Show.